Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 340. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside Johnny V. And, well,
back in the basement, Terry Miller.
I know it felt so weird as I showed up, and for the first time in, 3 weeks now I'm here, or 4 weeks, whatever it's been, and there's no snow out in your front yard or snowbanks I have to crawl over to get onto the property. None of that. I mean, it's just so glorious here. I mean, just like Arizona and Vegas.
It's like 55 degrees here today. It was not bad. There's still some big piles of snow in places, but ultimately, a lot of outdoor activity. I saw somebody in shorts and a t-shirt the other day when I went to get my hair trimmed up.
Well, it's good to be back, maybe. We are super excited for you guys to join us here tonight. Again, podcast 340, a couple of the items going down. Although I do feel like I'm a little bit behind the times, as crazy as that might sound, after being gone for a few weeks. My head's been kind of stuck in other computers and other places. But tonight we're going to have Nate Heinold. I think he's going to join us here shortly. I think he's on a PDGA Board of Directors meeting at this moment, but he's going to join us because I think he has some significant influence or part of the recently announced Paul McBeth Foundation.
You mean the guy that's washed up, right? That's what I hear.
I'm not going to say that. But according to the ratings,
what has he done recently? I have not seen anything he's done recently that has shown me that he's not washed up.
Again, all right. So no, we're gonna
only because I'm waiting for the second half of the final 9.
Oh, that gets released next week, so just keep waiting.
Okay. Well, when I watch that, maybe I'll think differently.
But no. So we're gonna have Nate come on and talk a little bit about that. I'll be the first to admit it's kind of funny that I know almost nothing about what's been said or released. I guess there was some news yesterday. I usually kind of know, and then love to play cat and mouse with an interviewee, but I really don't know any of the details. So I'm looking forward to figuring out what's going on. Of course, the ratings dropped today. I was up at midnight or 1 a.m. and I think I saw the PDGA was the first that I saw that came across my Facebook that showed Eagle McMahon. I think it was a 1056, if I recall. That was quite a few hours ago. Eagle McMahon now rated the number 1 player in the world, according to the ratings. I don't know where the world rankings or the fantasy skip ace or whatever rankings there are, but I know rating-wise, Eagle McMahon. And then, of course, Paige Pierce, yet again,
996
outdoes herself to get to that 996 mark that you just mentioned. So very incredible. Congrats to them. As we always make the joke, everybody says ratings don't matter, and then everybody wants to talk about them and the shifting that's taking place. Because, of course, it was news a few weeks ago when it was announced that Paul, for the first time in, 7 years, was not the top-rated or tied for being the top-rated player in the world. And now I think he's dipped all the way down to being like the 4th highest-rated player. So,
yeah, because I believe it goes Eagle, Calvin, Ricky, Paul.
I wouldn't bet on that only because I don't remember, but that sounds right. I guess I would believe it.
Okay, you should.
I'll trust your memory on this one, which is a really scary proposition. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that. Of course, we'll talk about the memorial that just took place over the last few days. Huge event that did not find itself necessarily on a pro tour or a national tour schedule this year, but nonetheless still a really big event with large payouts and courses everybody knows, and a lot of fun to be had out there and enjoying some amazing weather and sights and sounds of the memorial. I got to admit, it didn't feel a lot different. I mean, of course, the course didn't have all of the dressings that we've seen the last few years for being on the pro tour, but you got big names, you got great scores, you've got gorgeous weather. It felt a lot like a memorial, a memorial championships presented by Discraft, I should say.
And we've been attending the memorial long before it was a pro tour event, back when it was a national tour event. And the national tour back then didn't have all the dressings that it does now. So it probably felt a lot like a national tour event from about 5 years ago. And now they've got, the pro tour has set a higher bar for everybody, including the national tour. So I would assume that there was some extra stuff out there that we probably wouldn't normally have seen years ago. But ultimately, it's the same event. I mean, it's the same guys running it. They put in a ton of effort, a lot of added cash, 4-day event, a cut. You can't ask for a better locale or probably a better run event.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have made their comments that it's a big, boring Heiserfest, and that's fine. If it doesn't suit your style, that's fine.
I have a qualm about that particular statement. I mean, nobody can argue about Fountain Hills.
Sure.
I mean, it's wide open. But Vista? Cool. Guess what? Almost every course is a Heiserfest when you have a forehand and a backhand. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, how often are you flexing a giant forehand or a giant backhand? Most of the time, it's a power shot. Whether you're powering a forehand or powering a backhand, it's still the same basic shot shape in general. And any event that doesn't have tight woods, you can call a Heiserfest of some sort.
Yeah, and of course it is lacking in the tree department, and I think I don't think I'm using any spoilers by saying that's just geography. That's where we are in the country for the conditions that they have. Of course, you go a couple hours north. You want to go to a place where maybe Pete Ulibarri is running a tournament up at Wilderness or something like that, or in Flagstaff area or wherever. Yes, you can find more trees, but it's a different style golf. And we've talked about this for many years. We start out more open in either the west or the southwest, usually, or some of the courses in Texas sometimes can be a little bit more open. Of course, we have the Beast coming up this weekend, which is a little bit half and half. But it's like as the year progresses, it gets more and more wooded, and hopefully our players are getting more and more dialed in as they traverse around the country. So that's what we saw out there. Of course, an incredibly fun and exhausting, and yet really, I'm trying to think of the word. Everyone in Arizona, at least when I've been now to the Shelley Sharp and to Maricopa and now to the Memorial, Arizona has their policies with regard to COVID, and all of the tournament directors are doing their best to adhere to any state and local guidelines. And it's too bad that people really just feel like they need to run to the comment section and throw in their 1 or 2 or 5 cents about COVID. I understand everybody has their feelings about it. I have my own. Everybody does. But at the end of the day, there's guidelines that are in place from the PDGA. There's guidelines that are in place from state and local municipalities, and you have to adhere to them or you don't have a tournament. Like that's just that. And the same can be said of Texas. I think in the last few days, there was an announcement saying that Texas is changing up some of their statewide guidelines.
Texas is open for business.
And everyone, again, good with whatever they're doing. The Pro Tour is still going to have a certain set of guidelines that Pro Tour players need to adhere to. So I just wish everyone, I understand you may hate some of the rules. You may hate some of the decisions that are being made, but fighting about it, I know it's the internet, fighting about it in the comment section of a video, I hate to say it, is not going to change anyone's mind. It's just not. So you could keep doing it. I feel like you're really wasting time at that point. So as I said, also we'll have Nate. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then this weekend we're back on the Pro Tour.
Waco, baby. I just was looking at weather here. It looks like we might get some precipitation in Waco this weekend.
It shows rain for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then sunshiny type icons all the other days. That doesn't look exciting as I look over your shoulder.
No, but it looks like the precipitation chances are in the mid-30s. So, and that could be, it rains overnight Friday or it rains early Saturday morning or late Sunday. We'll see. I mean, I think we'll probably see some this weekend if you're seeing 3 full days of possible rain weather. But the temperatures are going to be nice. 81, 77, 72 degrees.
I'm a little warm. I mean, I've been working on my tan for the last couple of weeks. But
yeah, Tomato Miller.
Yeah, it's. I'll make it work one way or another if I have to go back. All right. I'm going to check in with Nate. As I said, I know he's coming in off of a board of directors call. The real question is, will he bring us any of the goods? Any of the finite details out of the PDGA Board of Directors meeting that they had? I heard it was going to be a marathon event tonight.
Is that, I mean, do they just roll right from that into the Illuminati meeting? I'm just curious. I mean, do they have to put on a special hat for that, or a cloak? I don't know. I've never attended one of these PDGA meetings. So.
Well, I will follow up and say I know that they have them. I was going to say monthly. I think it's maybe even twice a month, and sometimes they range, I believe, anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. So that's a lot of teleconferences. That's a lot of calls, and a lot of people doing work out there that goes almost completely unseen and unheard of otherwise.
Hence Illuminati.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
In secret, right?
Do you have a dollar bill I could look at? I think the answers are on the back of that.
I wouldn't get it back from you if I did.
That's true.
Well, while we wait for Nate, that's a tough.
There you go. While we wait for Nate,
let's talk about the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft.
Oh, wait, there's going to be spoilers here, folks. So if you're waiting to watch the back nine,
which I look, it's
literally
processing.
is processing.
It says 95% processing. Now, if you know YouTube, it does sit at 95 for a little while. But
yeah. So if you're waiting, you may want to stand down for a few minutes, but here you go.
Give yourself about, I'd say 5 minutes and go ahead and mute. I'll give you the signal when we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. Winning by 3 strokes. Mr. Foundation himself, Paul McBeth, shooting 42 under par, beating the other Paul, don't tell him I said that, Ulibarri, who shot a 39. Anthony Barella, 38. Fourth place tie between Greg Barsby and Josh Anton at 36. Sixth place, Mr. Arizona lately, Adam Hammes, tied with Mason Ford, Drew Gibson, and the young gun Kyle Klein. 10th place, all by himself, Nate Metzler.
Metzler. I think that's an L.
Is it an L? It's hard to see on the screen. Oh, yeah, it does look like an L.
Check
Metzler.
your bifocals, Grandpa.
No, that's my wife who just got bifocals. So
yes, Nate Metzler.
All right, congratulations to the top 10 there. Moving over to the open women's field, a great battle towards the end. And in the middle, actually, there was a little bit of jockeying for some position.
Oh, yeah.
But my pick to win this, I called it correctly. Owen Scoggins takes this one down, shooting 5 under par, besting Haley King by 1 stroke. I know Haley made a really good run at the end to try to catch her. That footage will be out probably later this week, huh, Terry?
That's the plan.
Okay. That's all I care about. I don't want to hear any more about it.
So you can hear plenty.
I know. Trust me. We're all going to hear about it later. Haley King shooting 4 under par. 3rd place, Valeria Manduano. 4th place, Erica Stinchcombe. 5th place, Callie McMoran. Congratulations to the top 5 women. Let's move on to Pro Masters. Normally we don't cover Pro Masters, but
somebody covered them. Final round.
Final round, you covered them. Way to go. Your co-host for the weekend, Pete Ulibarri. Now, I see Pete with a 1 next to his name, and that's better than Paul with a 2 next to his name.
Ouch.
So, congratulations to Pete Ulibarri, shooting 19 under par, beating Steve Rico, good friend of the show, who shot 17 under par. 3rd place, Shasta Chris. 4th place, Justin McClune. And 5th place, Craig Cutler. And if we do Pro Master men, you have to do Pro Master women. 5-time world champ.
Disc golf world champ, at least.
Yeah, she's got other world championships
Exactly.
in other disc sports.
Yeah,
good call.
Other disciplines.
I know this sounds bad. Maybe it doesn't sound bad. I was watching these scores relatively closely this weekend. It was like a throwback weekend for me. Like Sue Stevens and Juliana Korver.
Yep. A couple of names you've known for quite a few years.
Yeah, after round 1, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great battle. You know, Sue has her by 2.
Yep.
And then Juliana took off. And Juliana ended up winning by, 25 strokes over Sue Stevens. So Juliana, PDGA number 7438. That's a 4-digit PDGA number, folks. 3rd place, Jenny Umstead. 4th place, Lorena Dostal. So congratulations to those women. I just want to take a look at Juliana's round ratings. She's rated 916.
Yeah, and as you look at the ratings where she played above her rating every round, I was looking at her lining up her scores to the FPO field and seeing that when it was all said and done, she had 240 strokes. They played the same courses, same layout, same days, everything, just really a matter of, an hour or two apart. So it was pretty much the same stuff. She would have finished in fourth behind Valerie. Mm-hmm. So behind Valerie and in front of Erica Stinchcomb. So certainly speaks volumes about where her skill set, where her skills are in terms of knowing that she could show up and potentially finish fourth in
for someone
FPO.
who hasn't been on tour for a long time, who's really kind of, I feel like in the last 6 months, starting to come back into the scene quite a bit. She's always been on the kind of the border. She's had other interests in disc sports for a while.
She's really taken to freestyling mainly.
But if she is, if she's going to come back into the sport, I think she's going to be a shoo-in for Pro Masters women. And I could see her stepping up to Open women once in a while too, depending on the size of the field. But Juliana Korver wins. She shot 923 which is above her rating, 944, 959, and 941. Not bad for dusting off the discs.
Yeah, and I know she frequently plays. She had recently played over in San Diego at Goat Hill. She gave it her stamp of approval, I think, is what Alan Risley had said. And she's like you mentioned, she's playing more and more. And to watch her come out and to distance herself in that field and be as competitive as she was is just truly incredible. And
I would have loved to see her play in the Open women field just to see if that would have fueled her competitive fire at the end a little bit more, and maybe shoot a better score, maybe shoot a worse score, who knows. But
dude, you always play better when you play with better people.
Not always.
No, that's what everyone says. That has to be one of my least favorite sayings in not just disc golf, it's sports, but disc golf specifically. If I had a nickel for every time I heard, I play better when I play with better people, and I always say, what does Ricky do then when he's the best guy on the card by 5 strokes? What does Paul do? Like, where do they get their drive from? Because everybody else just relies on, if I play with somebody better. And also statistically, I think it's been proven it's not usually a thing.
Correct.
People think they do. They don't.
Well, when you see a lot of people throwing better shots than you, then you're like, I must be playing pretty good too.
It's just, I bet you if we opened it up, plenty of comments would come flying in. Well, I do. No, you're wrong. I always play it. No, you don't. You don't.
Some people play to the level of their competition.
No, they don't. Because then everybody would be rated really high and play really good.
Everybody said some people probably do.
It's just a funny statement.
Need an external fire to get them moving.
And then you have your own problems.
Correct. I've said that. Yeah. Because we know that the top guys in our field don't need that. Because you can put them out there with a bunch of 9, 12 rated players, and they're still going to shoot right at their rating or better, probably. So they understand how to fuel that fire internally. Some people probably need an external fire to fuel it,
or so they think. Yeah. And then you need that external fire, and then you shoot your 9-12, and you're like, oh, what happened? Oh, I don't know. I usually play better when I play with better people.
Well, I'll say this, Terry Miller. If you're sitting,
I hate it so much,
Terry Miller. If you're sitting 70 feet out, and you have a rock in your hand,
sure,
or let's just say we have 2 rocks, one in each hand, and you say, "Hey, John, $5 if I put this in." Mm-hmm. I'm not giving you $5 because I know probably it's more likely to go in if you have money on the line. So you are guilty of that fueling.
I play better when people put money on the line. That's the only time.
Yeah.
It's a funny saying, and I swear, damn near every listener right now has said it at one time or another. I play better when I play with better people.
You can. I truly believe you can learn more by playing.
With better people. I agree. But you can learn more. Your experience might be more fun. Might be more entertaining or educational or fulfilling or gratifying. It might be all of those things. You don't physically throw a disc better.
Probably not. No.
It's not osmosis. It's not some kind of other convection or
Are you sure? Because whenever I see a top pro, I go up and just hug them and hold them as tight as I can and hope to get their disc powers.
It doesn't work that way.
No, I've got 3 restraining orders that say it doesn't.
Speaking of restraining orders, I'm going to take a side note.
Whoa.
Disc Blaster.
It's not even an after show.
No, Disc Blaster. You said you never respond to my trolling anymore. I got news for you, Disc Blaster. This is worth pointing you out. I just banned you from my channel today. I'm kind of sick of your constant trolling. I mean, I know you think it's funny, and maybe I could take like some lighthearted stuff, but after a while, it just gets it gets tired. So sorry, I banned you from my channel today, and it might not be long before you're banned from this one. You have to go through the pain of creating another user account, and then we'll ban you again. All right, go on.
Anyway, no, I'm done.
I troll better when I'm with other trolls.
You get a higher troll rating. That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's talk about another event.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Let's look at the. Here's a good one. The Colorado Disc Golf Hall of Fame Championships. Oh, I'm sorry. That's an AM event. It says Pro Am, and it's really an AM event. I don't really. We can talk about the Battle at the Camp, which is a B tier out of Princeton, Texas. Nolan Grider, PDGA 13219, wins this, shooting a 21 under par by 1 stroke over Isaac Mars, tied with Jonathan Glass. Fourth place, Dustin. I'm gonna go with Hoyter, and 5th place, Tanner Gerard. There were no open women, so the Pro Masters, Scott Post wins this one by 5 strokes over Greg Wynn. So congratulations, Greg, who didn't win in 2nd place.
If he would have played with better people. All right.
That's really there was an event over.
Where did Schwebby win this weekend? That's all I need to really know.
I don't know.
Okay.
There's an event in North Carolina that I'm looking at called the Creekside Open, but he was not part of that. In the open field, Matthew Thompson wins over a 999 rated player, wins over Michael Joe, which is 1,028, beat him by 1 stroke. Michael Joe wins by 1 over Dan Hastings, and Dan Hastings was tied with Blake Polland. So congratulations. In the open women's field, Andrea Eaton wins by 1 stroke over the immortal Elaine King. Elaine not able to lengthen her lead in wins over Schwebby. I'm sure she's just very upset about that.
Congratulations, Andrea. And then, wow, yeah, like you said, Elaine. Okay, getting at it. Anything else? I mean, from the PDGA player traveling tournament news, I mean, we did see a number of players take the weekend off, so to speak, or just maybe more slowly meander
over to Texas
from Vegas down to Texas. And then as of yesterday, we saw a lot more people posting about being in Texas, of course, getting ready and prepped to play in the Pro Tour event. We are two days away from last year was when the final round. I remember being at the event and it ultimately getting called and then making the announcement that round was going to be the final round, which was the 2nd round at the time, was going to be the final round, and getting a flight back a day early. And that was on the 11th because it was exactly 6 months before I had flown again. So we're all right on the the NBA and all that other stuff. We're right on that, just about that 1 year anniversary of that experience last year, which was a very interesting experience. I remember being in Waco, and that was the first time they had said, okay, this round we're going to keep all the spectators out. We're not going to have any spectators, and we're going to keep them outside of the gate, so to speak, or the fence. And there was just a line of people hanging out of the fence trying to watch in for the final round. And just crazy to think where the world has come and gone since that time.
One full year. Some PDG announcement. Terry, maybe you can help clarify a little bit of this for me. But it says the 2021 PDGA Premier Pros list is now available. A total of 302 PDGA members have qualified as the PDGA Premier Pros for the 2021 season. Due to the shortened 2020 season, all the 2020 Premier Pros, based on the 2019 season, were carried forward into the 2021 season. You got PDGA Championships, USDGC Championships, Major Championships, Elite Series, players rated 1,000 plus for men and 930 plus for women. 2020 Tour Cash 1, male players above 5,000, females above 2,500. Terry, what the heck is a Premier Pro? I looked. It's not listed in here.
I don't know.
Okay, good. Then I'm not the only one that looked at this and thought like
it tells you the qualification. I guess and if you click on it, does it tell you what it does it garner you anything, or is it just
is this just our top
distinction
players list? Yeah, and that's what I was curious about, whether it garnered, maybe you need, if this to qualify for something. I don't know.
Well, good thing
we're gonna have Nate Heinold on.
Yeah, we'll have Nate Heinold, and maybe he can make a clarification or two as to what that is going to be. Oh, and speaking of him, I am just now providing a link for him, or the information, and it sounds like we'll be able to have him in a moment. And yes, as mentioned on the board, since we're all trying to identify people and lock in the meanings of the various titles, somebody that needs to get identified per the coverage this weekend and some other things that have been going around. There is a random hot dog stamper running around the PDGA. Kyle Klein at one point this weekend flipped over his disc, and he's like, there's a hot dog on my disc. Somebody has what presumably is a stamp, a little rubber stamp, and they are putting their mark, or putting that mark, I don't know if it's their mark, but putting that mark onto players' discs.
How brazen do you have to be? Like, how far up the chain can you go? Like, there are some people that probably take their plastic very seriously, as is your equipment for your life. So, like, if you snuck up on Eagle, I think Eagle could chuckle about it. Maybe Ricky.
Not, being a vegetarian.
It's true. I didn't think. Like, would you dare do Paul? I mean, is people? I don't know. It's
yeah, that's a good question.
We had something similar a long time ago. It wasn't a hot dog that people were drawing on discs, but someone was drawing something on discs, and
yes,
for a while, many years ago, and
right.
It was interesting trying to figure out who that was.
Someone running around pulling those silly pranks. Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. The hot dog himself, we're going to bring him in from the Disc Baron Digital Green Room, even though he shops at lisopen.com. You can shop at both places. Nate Heinold, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I am doing well, so having a good hair day, so it's doing good. So.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Any day you have hair is a good hair day. That's what,
hey,
that's what some people say.
Yeah.
All right, Nate. Well, welcome. We got a handful of topics to cover, and one of them that we had shared with the world is that you were just on a PDGA board call, and maybe clarify the frequency of those. That's one of the major tasks, but yet is probably largely under publicized. What exactly? How often you guys meet and talk?
Yeah, we meet once a month on Zoom, and we have summits generally twice a year, and then we have emails back and forth and calls. But tonight was one of the, I just got off the call. It was a 4.5-hour call. So that's mostly atypical. They're usually 2 to 4 hours at most, but this was one of the longest ones.
Who's in trouble? What's the problem? Is it the Illuminati?
I would say that it starts with T and ends in ER, and he's canceled. He's out.
Terry Roethlisberger.
Yes, that's right.
Terry Roddy, maybe?
I don't think that ends in ER.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so tonight, I don't want to say give us a breakdown on the board, but what are some of the either general topics or even specific topics that you guys kind of tackle, and then at what point does it break out into committee talk or those types of things?
Yeah, I'm the chair of the Majors Committee, so that's been a ton of work the last few years as we've reshaped World Championship events and combined events here and clarified national champions for who gets it at what event, creating a new major. And so when we do that work on the committee level, eventually, after that was 3 years of work, it goes to the board for a presentation, maybe final approval. And so the board is hearing about, stuff from Joe, the ED, and staff initiatives they're working on, committee reports, new business items. Tonight, I doubt I can talk about any of them, but some will be announced maybe tomorrow and some later on. But sometimes it's controversial. We've had to take up, transgender policies. We've had to take up awarding majors. We've had to take up, policies on this and policies on that. So when we have to do rule changes and competition committee changes, those are brutal, to be honest, because it goes through a big process and we're debating it. And, so it's a lot of high level stuff and sometimes in the weeds stuff.
I think, well, definitely since last time we spoke with you, which I think is about a year ago, you were a driving force behind the new major, according to all of the articles. Was there any talk about that tonight, as far as, I mean, format or just discussion about the reaction? Has there been any kind of
further discussion?
Yeah.
The board did not discuss the fourth major, so the
Okay.
committee did discuss it again, and the consensus was that we did hear some negative feedback, but we also heard plenty of positive feedback. We engaged the Pro Tour Players Committee, and we definitely heard some negative feedback, but there was a lot of positive feedback from the players too. And so, you know, even if I thought I made a mistake and we should change it now, I don't think the board would even support that. I think the board is ready to say, we don't even know what we have now. You can't say you hate it until you've tried it. So Elaine made that point online, and she was right, because I personally didn't expect the negative feedback, especially from my boy Paul, who's probably, you know, maybe not listening right now, but he was like legit mad at me, and like, you know, and so I get it. People are passionate, but we think it's a really exciting concept. And look, I'm not married to it. If it's so bad the first year, then I guarantee we'll change it. So.
And I've got obviously, I just wanted to get your input on that. I don't necessarily think now is a time for us to be making any sort of rash decisions. It doesn't hurt to try something out one time. And like you said, if everybody hates it, if it goes south, then guess what? We still have the fourth major. We just adjust. So. And
look, the Pro Tour Championship, they've adjusted that, you know, several times. That was revolutionary when Steve came out with the pod concept, and Dana almost beat Paul at Smuggler's Notch and chained out on hole 17. I remember that more than, you know, who won the last, you know, European Open, to be honest. And so there is that aspect of, I mean, people think it's not going to go well. I mean, I think that it has a chance to be very exciting and still fair. And the biggest criticism I've seen is it won't be fair to whoever was in first place. So you're telling me that if you are in the top four after 4 rounds on a championship course, and then you go match play back-to-back rounds on the same day and beat 2 of the best players in the world, that you didn't deserve to win a major? That seems surprising to me. So.
Okay, we're gonna get Nate fired up. I like it.
No, I just want to put it out there.
No,
yes, I'm something different. I just want to say, bring back the old tour championship style. I liked the pods. I liked the win your card and move on. That's me personally.
You got Drew Gibson provisions. You got all sorts of.
No, I loved it.
There's all.
I loved that.
Yeah, I mean,
loved that.
There's some gamesmanship, some all sorts of things that goes in when you're thinking outside the box. I agree.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, it's not. It's not. Yesterday there was apparently some news, and I kind of joked that usually I kind of know the answers when I'm lobbing up questions, but I've been buried in other places doing other things, and some news dropped yesterday of a foundation cleverly named, through the guy that partially owns Foundation Disc Golf, but there's some new foundation Paul McBeth is starting, and at what point do we get money? That's what we're here for. That's how foundations work, right?
There you go. So
Okay.
you're such an elegant interviewer, Terry. So
Thank you.
So I'll answer your question to say that I think that Paul's had this vision for a long time, and he certainly, he wouldn't have been able to do it himself with his very busy touring schedule and trying to be Paul McBeth and live up to his amazing contract. And so, the team behind it, I mean, Paul basically has, Dustin Leatherman as his executive director, and he recruited Doug and I, from 2 different, manufacturers, obviously, to co-chair the foundation. And so there's obviously a great team behind Paul to kind of lay out the vision for kind of what he wanted us to do.
Okay, so go ahead and explain it and pretend like I read 0 press releases on it. Explain exactly what the premise and the goals of the foundation are.
I mean, in a nutshell, really, it's to get disc golf into underserved areas. Find the next Paul McBeth in a different country or find it domestically. And, so there are a lot of areas like Peoria, Illinois, and Emporia, Kansas. We have so many disc golf courses and players, we don't need more here. And the idea is, where are the underserved populations in the United States? Where are the underserved populations in other countries? Where's the next Finland? Where's the next Paul McBeth? Where's the next Paige Pierce? Where's the next Ricky Wysocki? Let's get courses in the ground. So that's the main goal, is get courses in the ground in those areas at no cost to them is the goal, right? So get courses in the ground to the next Finland, the next area that could see a boom. Let's get it started. And it's not just an inner city thing or an other country thing. It's underserved. Where is disc golf not yet located?
So I'm thinking of, it's kind of a little bit of a chicken and egg scenario in my head, and maybe you can clarify just that. Is it that somebody is in an area and they should be reaching out and say, hey, we need help, we're trying to grow it here? Or are you trying to find someplace that has really no disc golf and you're like, hey, let's plant a seed here without anyone coming after us? Like, what's the premise there?
Yeah, I think it's both of those. So we have a form at Paul's website, paulmcbethfoundation.org, where you can sign up to volunteer, sign up to give a project idea. But we're also actively looking at other places. We're looking at a project in Mexico right now, and we hope to do 2 or 3 projects this year, assuming we're able to with travel restrictions. But we're confident that we can do a few projects. But right there, you can donate, you can buy some Paul McBeth Foundation merchandise, you could submit a form, volunteer. But we're looking for people to tell us where they think disc golf could be, where it's underserved, or, hey, we have this opportunity in the inner city of XYZ city, or the outer city, whatever city it is, right? The suburbs, whatever it is, wherever the area is, we have this opportunity at so-and-so, and you should look at that, and we'll look at that.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to just insert as a local, a much more local example. Within Wisconsin, we've had the Wisconsin Disc Sports Association, and we have what's called the Wisconsin Disc
Basket Fund?
Yeah, it's called it's Development Fund is the official term. We call it the Basket Fund, where every single event that's on our tour, which is now up to 20 events, $2 is taken out of every single registration at all of these tournaments throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, a board collectively votes on people asking for grants. And the grant can run anywhere. You could ask for anywhere from $200 to $1,500. And it's to help assist get disc golf either a course completed in your area, or kind of provide some finishing touches to develop. And it's not just used for courses and baskets. It can be used for other projects like an after school program and so on and so forth. I feel like this is similar, but trying to be on a larger global or international scale. Am I kind of drawing the similarities correctly?
Yeah, certainly, because if you look at just what you're doing there in Wisconsin, that's great. We want to take that to, let's
Zimbabwe.
say overseas, across the border to Mexico. That's a huge cost. I mean, just shipping baskets to Mexico or a different country, it may cost more than the baskets, right? Mm-hmm. Or if we go to Africa, we may have to make the baskets there, mm-hmm. right? And so there are a lot of opportunities. When you say the word underserved, that could be a lot of different areas, but certainly we're looking at not just other countries, but cities, developing countries, wherever we think we can make an impact, we're going to look at that.
So I have to slightly challenge and ask, how is this different? I think about the PDGA, who has had the Marco Polo program for a number of years. I think about an Edge or a You Play Disc Golf. I think about Eagle's Wings, and I think about all of those types of entities and organizations which all kind of loosely tie together. And there was also, I think, a disc golf foundation, just a general disc golf foundation that gave away baskets for many, many years in kind of a similar premise. I look at all of those, and then I think, Is it a naming thing?
Star power. I mean, why does any athlete have a foundation? Because I mean, it's a dual purpose. It helps the name, so it's probably helping Paul McBeth's name expand. I mean, it's good PR to have a foundation, but on top of that, his name also draws more interest than probably like an Eagles Wings, we'll say, which is we've supported them for years,
of course,
and they're great. But when you say Paul McBeth, that carries a lot more cachet than Eagles Wings.
Which is, I agree with all that. So I'll ask you, Nate, is it all of those things and then a tax write-off? Like what? Like what? I mean, to be fair, I mean, if we really want to, dissect this just a little more, somebody out there scrutinizing, saying this, he could have just offered to support other existing entities.
Yeah, but he could have offered to support St. Jude or any organization and taken a tax write-off, right? So
sure,
if he's giving money to his foundation, it's no different of a tax write-off than if I give money to St. Jude or he gives money to the Red Cross, right? And so, I don't think that was part of his motivation at all. In fact, he's never brought that up. In fact, he's donating all of his winnings from this year to the foundation. And so if he makes $50,000 of winnings, that could be 2 courses, to be honest. And, and then obviously we have other fundraisers going, and the goal is to do this on a very wide level. So to answer your main question, if I had the Nate and Terry Foundation or the Johnny V and the Terry Foundation, the star power is down here.
Ouch!
Wait, whoa,
come on, man!
Cut this guy's feed. What are we doing? Okay, I understand that. I do. I just wanted to also say there's people that are thinking. I think of a Rebecca Cox, who is one of the large driving forces behind Diversify Disc Golf. I think of Respect Her Game and what Sarah Sinclair and so many others are doing from that perspective. I think of Throw Pink. We have so many great initiatives in our sport, and I love them all, and that's where I wonder if aligning with someone versus having a new one. I think that could be said of every new one that starts is, hey, is there someone else that's doing this?
And I think if you look at Paul's background, if you watched his video maybe, what was it, a week ago, it's not like Paul came from this, family of wealth, right? And so he didn't have, it's not like he had all of these opportunities to be in this very successful, childhood growing up where he had everything thrown at him. He, went through a lot and worked for it. And so the point is, let's get more disc golf opportunities into these underserved areas. Maybe there's a kid that picks up disc golf that wouldn't have done it because of this. And so all those organizations you mentioned are doing fine work, but Paul's goal was, you know what, I am very blessed that I got to do this, and look what's happened to my life. Let's see what I could do by putting disc golf in other spots that it wouldn't be financially feasible without this, grant from this foundation.
Well, and not just on the board, but in general, of course, I support this. I like it. As I say with anybody, whatever you want to do with your money is your money. He's being gracious and obviously tying in a great group of people together. I love that there's even branding outside of just sticking within his main sponsor in Discraft. I like that he's branching out and that he's got this great team of people. So I am not personally second guessing it, but I'm saying outsiders may have some of those questions.
Well, these are just general questions about why would anybody start a foundation? Why, what's the point? What's the purpose?
So international, I love the idea because I've been fortunate enough now to travel to a few places beyond just Finland. When people think international disc golf, it's typically Norway, Sweden,
Japan.
Finland. Those are your kind of your hotbeds. But seeing other opportunities that could take place in so many other countries, I think is also very exciting. Is there? And speaking of Eagles Wings and Dustin Leatherman, they've obviously had a huge impact in Africa. Are there specific plans for any places right now, or is everything still just kind of open and on the table?
I think everything's open. I think Dustin's looking at a project in Zambia. They're looking at the project in Mexico. I think Dustin said he's been contacted by over 130 different people since last night that have project ideas that want to volunteer. So people should definitely go out to Paul McBeth, paulmcbethfoundation.org, and there's a forum there. And if they have a ready to go project idea, submit it in and we can evaluate it. And so I think they're going to look at all of those things, and they're looking for volunteers, people that want to do graphics. I think Paul wants to grow this to make a difference, not get a tax write-off. And I think that, eventually maybe he won't even have to give his winnings, and we'll have enough other, donors or tournaments that are supporting the foundation. If you look at what I do with Ledgestone, we happen to give a large amount to St. Jude. Maybe there's another Ledgestone that comes along and they're giving that money to this foundation to grow disc golf. So,
yeah. And again, I love it all. I just looking at it from various angles and perspectives. Now, in talking with Doug Bjorkis, and then how did you guys come about with the team, and what were some of the driving forces to put the team together that you have? I mean, Doug, I know, runs a ton of tournaments. He's designed courses. He works for DD, but then also he has worked with the junior world specifically as well. What were some of the criteria when you were selecting people?
Yeah, Dustin basically reached out to both Doug and I and said, hey, I have an idea that I've been talking to Paul about. And they started talking about that last spring, and he came to Doug and I in September. And at the time, Doug and I were just offering advice. And by October, late October, he was like, hey, we want you to be on the board of directors. And it was like, wow, I'm not sure I have the physical time for any more disc golf volunteer work. And, but I believed in it, and I believed in what Paul was trying to do, and Dustin had a good vision. And so it was Doug, myself, and Dustin. And then we recruited Justin who works at Innova, actually. And then Dustin has a financial contact out in North Carolina. His name's Brandon. He's our treasurer. And so that's kind of the board of directors. And then we have some advisory board of directors that kind of advise us. And so that's kind of how the team came about. So it's a really passionate, I won't say knowledgeable, because, I may not be knowledgeable, but we'll just say it's a passionate team. And I can't speak for Doug, but we're passionate and we believe in Paul's vision.
Well, where you may lack in knowledge, Doug will pick up. That guy's got it. I can. So here's one. Maybe. I think this is a very important question, or a very important statement. Yeah, question. Tell us what it's not for. Tell us what people shouldn't bother writing in with, because people's eyes light up, their ears perk up. Oh, what? Free money, or free this, or free that, or a potential for that? Tell us the types of things that this is not trying to serve. Let's just put it out there right away, where it's like, oh yeah, don't bother submitting that. That's not at all our vision or our thought or our goal. Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, really the bottom line is that, if you've been trying to get a course in your town for 10 years and there's other courses right in your area, we're not looking to put disc golf courses in areas that already have it. The mission right on his website says the Paul McBeth Foundation will develop and introduce sustainable disc golf experiences in underserved locations with limited or no access to the sport. So if you're trying to, if you have a guy just down the road from me in Peoria that's trying to get a course put in Peoria, that's probably not going to happen, because we already have 25 courses here. Everybody knows about disc golf in Peoria, even in your area, right? Disc golf is more prevalent in Madison, in Milwaukee, in those areas. But if you look at, I'm just speaking out loud, but there's all kinds of opportunities domestically, but obviously many more in other countries. Even if you look at Japan and you call it a hotbed, Japan, I don't even think they have 100 PDJ members. The last time I checked, maybe it's grown since COVID, but there are a ton of opportunities. China, Africa, Mexico, certainly, and but there's concerns with all of those countries. How do we get baskets to Mexico? Can we even ship to Mexico? Right? You have cartel issues. Can we get baskets to China? If baskets are made in China from a specific company, can they be kept there? And then we just kind of, move them out of there.
Save on shipping.
Save on shipping. So there's all kinds of concerns, but really, if you have a project that is in an area full of disc golf, we're probably not going to be interested.
Okay, and similar. This doesn't, because again, I know some people are listening and they're like, oh, "This is it. This is my ticket. I'm going to write them because I really want to buy a piece of land, and I want to put on a course, and I want to have a pro shop, and I'm going to grow the sport." In air quotes, I'm going to grow the sport, right here in my area, and I'm a perfect fit for a donate. Now, again,
And maybe it's true.
it might be in the right area.
In the right area.
This isn't a pet project for you to start your business, and you're looking for seed money. Yeah,
we're not looking to help people profit, but we are looking for. I mean, the two main words in the mission statement are underserved and sustainable. Underserved makes sense, but sustainable, we don't want to put a course where there's nobody to support it there. So if we put a course in, we're probably going to try to find a local club or contact who actually can run the league there, run a clinic there, maybe give him some discs so he can be out there once a month or whatever it is. So you don't just put a course in a new city. I can't even pick a name or a new country and have no infrastructure there to support it.
Sure. Well, again, on a very Wisconsin-based level, which I've sat on that board, I've been part of this, I've helped decide, I've put in some of these grants. This is just it's very similar to what we've done here, and I know on a Wisconsin level, I think we've given away like $25,000 or $30,000 worth of baskets in all these years, and some of those have gone into start courses that have maybe otherwise wouldn't have been there, and we're very blessed, and maybe it's a long-winded way of saying it, but within the Midwest, we're all very blessed. There's seeing an underserved population benefiting from this, I think is incredible, because I think of the contacts that I've had in Thailand, some of the contacts I have in Singapore, as you're saying, and the struggle is very real. They have people and enthusiasm, but there's a lot of significant obstacles to getting the equipment and getting things in. Even if they are gaining local support from the municipality, baskets can be really expensive.
Or even discs. Maybe they can't even get discs. So,
Now, I think it's a fair question. How brand specific or agnostic are you guys looking to be? Paul, obviously large contract, Discraft. You're a Discraft guy. I get all of that, but some that may turn off a few people that say, "Hey, we feel like we'd like this to be a little bit more open." Do you guys have any concerns with that?
I'm going to cover my Discraft logo because I forgot I was wearing this to work today because I'm still at work. But it will be brand agnostic. Doug and I are co-chairs. Doug's as much tied into Dynamic, if not more, than I am to Discraft, and so we're going to reach out to all of the manufacturers. We don't want this to be a Discraft thing or a DD thing. And Discraft understands that. They will support it, and I believe Dynamic will probably support it, and hopefully the other manufacturers, because I think the opinion of it, I can just speak for Doug, but the opinion of Discraft and Dynamic is if we're getting disc golf courses into underserved populations, that's a win for every manufacturer and every disc golf company, to be honest. So it doesn't matter if it's Discraft baskets or Latitude baskets or Innova baskets. If we're actually going into a new country and it has a chance to be sustainable, then it's good for disc golf, period.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've always felt that, yes, somebody might get that sale and those baskets might be made by so-and-so, but if you generate that many more players, they're going to find your company, they're going to find the other companies, and it's all going to, you're making the pie bigger for everybody, which is, who doesn't love pie? All right. Is there anything else? So people can donate. There's a button right there on the website, a nice big red one. People can donate. Is this 501c3? Is this what kind of organization? How is this set up, and what should people know about that?
We've applied for that, and we expect it to happen. But as you probably can imagine, that's a long process with our government, and so. But I would imagine it would happen in 2021. But certainly they can donate. They can go to the website and buy some sweet apparel. The PaulMcBethFoundation.org website. They can go submit that form to volunteer, submit project ideas. Tell us that you're the best graphic designer in the world and you could do something for us. Tell us that you are the next disc golf guy. You want to film stuff or whatever it is, So, so
Yeah. Okay. So there's ways to help financially or otherwise. People can reach out and they can find a way to contribute and be part of this. So that's definitely cool to see. And I'm looking right now. Yeah, on the website, there's a couple items you can purchase, and I'm sure that will continue to fill up so people can. And then all proceeds, everything that gets sold there, obviously going right into the foundation, I'm assuming.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
All right. So, is there anything else from the foundation perspective that we need to touch on? Anything I didn't think of to ask you about?
I'm looking now, but I think that you definitely covered it all. You're just so great at your job, Terry.
No, I'm not going to come work for the foundation. I got other stuff to do. Quit trying to.
I've been trying to hire you to work for my tournament all year, and you're like, I have this other gig. I should just start calling Johnny and saying, Johnny, do you have a job during Ledgestone? The answer is probably yes, but still.
Yeah, I think he's got to press buttons and switch a show. But
we'll see.
Okay.
And
Let's switch jobs.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea. I think I have a wedding that that I'm going to be partaking in.
I have 2,000 players that need social media managed, so I need the tear bear.
I'll tell my half sister, hey, I'll tweet a congrats from Ledgestone. Anyway, all right. Well, we'd be remiss to before letting you go if we didn't ask you about anything else from a Ledgestone perspective.
Everybody wants to know about the discs.
The discs. Where's my wave of discs? I need to get my hands on some of that LIS Open stuff. What should people be expecting, and what are they all excited about?
I mean, this has been a crazy year. We have, for Ledgestone, I think we're releasing 100 limited edition molds this year, I think. We have a lot of goodies coming at Ledgestone, but basically, obviously, the pandemic has caused this major boom. And so, I was fortunate enough to place this order last year, 6 months ago, or 5 months ago. And so we have all these great things coming out. Ledgestone Wave 2 comes out, I think, in about 7 weeks. And so I was just talking to Discraft today. So, we're actually I was able to get a little more production. So I'm going to be able to let in a few more vendors that the email went to spam is what is what they told me. And so, but we're very excited. I think this year we did one of every Discraft mold available for production, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. So plenty of discs continue.
Yep, we got some comments coming for you, Terry. So
yeah, all I need
you like them jawbreaker.
Yeah,
we're
gonna have to talk about a special Tear Bear Ledgestone edition collaboration on that Jawbreaker comment. That's something I could really get into.
I do have an OG Jawbreaker, I think, glow comment, and I'll see if I can change it to like a Tearstone stamp.
Yeah, I like that. And everything's good with Ledgestone in terms of like registration. You've got more people than you could ask for. You're putting in new courses. Everything is forging forward.
I'll give you some breaking news because I edited the press release during the board meeting tonight. Shame on me, but it took like 5 minutes, and the topic was, I was still listening, but we're actually announcing the addition of a 12th course tomorrow, or what is today? Tomorrow or Thursday, to add more women and other divisions into the event. So that will actually put our capacity officially at 2,000 players. So.
Oh my!
Wow.
It will officially be the largest. I mean, it already was, but it will officially be the largest tournament ever. So.
Can you tell us where? What course?
It's called Camp Kearney. So it's about 20 minutes south of Peoria. Started in 2019, finished last year. They have 9 very old baskets and 9 temp baskets. So. I'm donating 18 new baskets to them so we can have the course be used for Ledgestone. So pretty excited about that because it's only 5,700 feet, but if you look at UDisc, the best score is 52, and so it's sneaky challenging. So, but it will be it's a really fun course from what I've seen. I sent Jamie out there this weekend, and he played it and gave it high reviews. And I think UDisc has it at 4.5 out of 5. So with 25 reviews, so it's a really nice course. So I haven't even announced that on the site yet. So you just kind of got breaking news. So
Smashbox exclusive is what we call those. Love it. I think of Camp Kearney. I think of definitely some old amusement park rides that you have to throw
like the
around.
Gravitron,
yeah, the Scrambler,
the
Scrambler. At some point, I'm getting in a gunny sack and I'm going to go down a big slide that will cost me 1 ticket to do. I can't wait to visit Camp Kearney.
Oh gosh, it's actually spelled. Maybe
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
pronouncing it wrong, but Jamie pronounced it that way. It looks like Kearney, but Jamie said Carney. So who knows? So
He's from Texas. What does he know?
Yeah, he can't even handle the cold. So which I don't. I mean, it was like 70 degrees today. That's super warm. So
that's true. Well, all right, Nate. I think we got all the answers we need. I think it's of course it's awesome for someone like Paul or any of our players to be using their star power, to be using some of their success, some of their branding and their name, to then roll that right into positive philanthropic adventures is great. It's incredible to think that anyone in disc golf is at a position from a competitor standpoint to now start thinking ahead to how they can benefit the rest of the disc golf community in such an impactful way. And
for Paul to be donating all of his winnings this year, it's
and he's
it's hard,
only
hard
and he's 30. I mean, he's young and he's 30 years old. A lot of people may do this towards the end of their careers. I'm confident that Paul is not at the end of his career. He's a very busy person, right? And so, for him to take this investment of time, he could be using all this time to practice and play tournaments, but this is an effort on his behalf, because if we put in a new course with his name on it, we're probably going to send him there, right? We're not just going to, not have him be involved. So he's putting a significant effort into this, and that should be applauded. So there's, when I read the Reddit comments of this or that, I kind of chuckle because, Paul doesn't need the tax write-off, and he's not doing it for that. He could give it to any charity if he wanted that. So.
Yeah, and to be very clear, I was not insinuating any negativity. I just know immediately where the naysayers want to go to, so I feel like it sometimes is worth just putting it right on the put it right on the table right off the bat.
It is good to address it, and Dustin even told me there were people saying this, and I found it on Reddit, and I think it's fine. I mean, I think half of the people say bad stuff about me, and the other half say average
worse
stuff. About me. So exactly. So
people like me on Reddit.
No, they don't.
Yeah, Johnny B, he's super likable. So not me and Tear Bear. So
no, people. Terry's very popular on Reddit right now after all this memorial coverage that he's been putting out. A lot of people liking Tear Bear,
giving them the goods. And thank you. I'll say it also publicly. Nate had said he was very interested in his Ledgestone Pro Shop, where you can find a ton of the goods he was just talking about. He stepped up and said he wanted to support the coverage of the memorial that I had done throughout this last week. So you saw some of the ads and plugs, and of course we encourage everyone to go out and support what Nate's doing over there at lisopen.com. So, all right, buddy. Well, thank you for all the insight. Some people call you biased, and you are sometimes, but it's all for all the right reasons. And we appreciate getting all the goods and the details from you, and keep doing all that good work with the PDGA. And you got an open line here anytime you want to come back and fill us in on all the stuff you're not supposed to share with us. We're here. We're ready for it.
Well, we have some stuff to share that I can't share with you soon, maybe. So,
call me. Call
me, maybe. I'll tweet you and text you later. So
I appreciate that.
Or maybe I'll tweet
accidentally
Johnny.
make it public. Yeah,
Maybe
Terry's
I'll tweet Johnny.
Terry's not the tweeters.
I'll figure it out.
Nah.
I got my twits about me.
No,
all right, guys. Nate, we appreciate it. I know you had a big, long day, and you've got a wife and family to get back to. So relax and look forward to more updates when you have them. And I'm looking forward to Wave 2 along with those special edition Ledgestone stamped Tear Bear Jawbreaker comments.
Tell you what, if you work for me at Ledgestone, you can have whatever you want, Terry. So
all right. See ya.
See you later, Nate. Thanks.
And if you guys don't think I can be bribed, you're wrong.
Oh, heavily wrong.
Yes. But no, seriously, thank you to Nate for all the information, putting it all out there. And I didn't get a chance to consume. I know, I'm guessing a lot of this was probably talked about. If you watch the Nick and Matt show, came in last night, and I think that's going to be the regular night. For a while, it was on Thursday, so I'm really confused about when they're doing stuff. But either way, I'm sure some of it was out there. But if not, hopefully we've given you more clarity and information regarding it. So good on all them. And what a group they've assembled. I mean, all people that have been here on the show that we very much not only like, but also respect.
Are those mutually exclusive, or like and respect?
Yeah.
Usually if I respect somebody, I probably like
no,
them, but not always.
We just seriously cannot say enough about the group of people that they're working with, and I'm excited to see where it expands to. And I'm most excited to see really ultimately who's kind of chosen first. Where do they go first, and where do they plant that first seed?
Yeah, that very first one is going to be interesting, and I'm sure we'll hear about it. There'll be press releases.
Uh-oh. You're second guessing something.
No, not at all.
Oh.
I'm thinking about where, and clearly we don't know, where it would be best served. Are we talking underserved? Is it easiest to start underserved in the U.S., or would it be easier to be that? I'm just talking first one.
Yeah.
Would it be like somewhere outside of, we'll just say somewhere in Europe?
Sure.
Something along those lines.
I think they're gonna have a hard time finding a new breakthrough or needed spot, say in Finland, where disc golf feels like, UC and the crew there are planting seeds every day. So yeah, where it ultimately goes, I'm very biased. As I said, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Taiwan recently, or a year ago. And I see all this enthusiasm. I know they're talking in Singapore. I've talked to some. I will put some very fine gentlemen in touch with the foundation people. Vietnam, I know, is working on some stuff. There's Addison and a bunch of great people over there. There's so much opportunity, and this might be the solution or the answer for a number of those people. And often I get people that come to me and say, hey, I'm looking for advice. We're looking to get a course in. A lot of times I'll get those types of questions as well, because I've been a course designer, and sometimes I can point people in the right direction. And this is hopefully going to be another possibility for people to explore. And that's, like we said, that's a win for everybody. Okay. There you have it. That's that. Is there anything else well, here's where I'll follow it up. Kind of take a little bit of a detour. I know what I mentioned is the Wisconsin Disc Sports Association, and I know even on our website, widiscsports.com, they list all the criteria for what it takes to apply for one of these grants, and it lists all the winners and the recipients throughout all these years. We'd love to know if your community does that. Does your overarching body within your state? I think of a place like the Tulsa Disc Golf Association, who many years ago, when Joe Rotan was running the Am Worlds in that 2006 timeframe, he was working with Innova to really have a program with Innova about getting new baskets in an area, and helping further and develop a scene. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen initiatives, that kind of skirt along the lines of what's going on here, and I love seeing them all. I'd love to know if you guys are experiencing that, and if there's any pros or cons to what you've seen from all of this. I think that's just a great discussion, and I'll kind of roll that into another idea. We've been contacted a number of times because Wisconsin, for instance, has a Wisconsin Disc Sports Hall of Fame, or Disc Golf Hall of Fame. And Johnny, you and I grew up in such a rich and fulfilling and organized state here of disc golf that we kind of took that for granted. You don't see that necessarily in every state. And I feel like more states are catching up with that concept as well.
Well, not just Wisconsin, but I guess I didn't exactly realize when you go outside of the Midwest, because Minnesota had a pretty great tour. Illinois, Michigan, us. I mean, we had the whole LAMP series for a while where we kind of combined them. And you take it for granted. You don't realize that there might not be Missouri State Tour. I'm just going to throw that out
Sure.
there, but
Or wherever. Yeah.
or wherever. I mean, and the fact that we have great leadership, that it very forward thinking to do, our fund where they take is it $1 out of
$2.
It's $2 out of every player's entry fee for all of our state tour events, and it goes into this fund.
Yeah. Well,
so
and I know, and just to also kind of even a little bit bigger picture, I know, for instance, that there is a kind of a matching program that Innova has worked with in terms of having the educational disc golf experience. And often whether it's been from Jay and Des or from Harold Duvall over at Innova, where they've said, hey, we do this thing where, you're donating money, $2, we'll say, out of every entry fee that goes into this organization. And then when you do that and when your event does that, they earmark that money, and that's going to then get guaranteed to go back into a school or curriculum-based program for your state. And that's awesome. And we've always said, if we didn't do what we're already doing, we would definitely explore that. And some people do both, and that's great. But that's another opportunity. Maybe you team up with an Edge or a You Play Disc Golf who have some similar offerings, and maybe your event just says, hey, we're going to take out X amount of money for every single player, or we're going to have a fundraiser here at this event, and then it benefits one of those programs, and then that program in turn turns around and finds a needed or a deserving grant asker? Recipient. Thank you. Yeah, grant recipient. Or someone that had applied, a grant applicant. That's the word I was looking for.
Right.
Sometimes words are tough. So lots of talk. If you need anything, reach out. We can point you in the right direction.
It clearly shows the growth of our sport when we have this many foundations or
programs,
charities,
initiatives,
or programs. Edge, You Play, Paul McBeth Foundation, Eagles Wings, all these people working to raise money to improve our sport. And I'm going to call this step 1. It's probably really step 57 or something, but you'll know when we really start to hit it big, when you start seeing foundations like this promote outside of the sport initiatives. Look at the NFL and all the different players that have foundations, and but very few of them are probably promoting football. They might be promoting some Pee-wee, but a lot of them do things like, Down syndrome awareness, or, Heart Foundation, or, cancer research, things like that. I think that's really when we're going to start seeing that, when I will say, quote unquote, we've hit it big, when we start seeing foundations look to grow outside the sport, because they feel like our sport has grown to a significant level where we don't need to keep trying to push our sport. We can help other people.
Yeah. As you said, the growth, the maturity of where we are at now, and we got a long way to go, and we're still not talking about, dropping $50K into these foundations, every other week, like they do when they're maybe aligned on the PGA Tour. But it's all got to start somewhere. So very cool to see.
Did I hear that you just dropped the back 9?
I have not. I am teasing it out for everyone. If you're listening right now, it is in fact uploaded.
We don't want to drop it yet.
I know. We don't want to lose all. When all of our subscribers and viewers go to 0. Yes, the back 9 is now officially uploaded. I am staring at it this very moment. And I will say again, it was one of my favorite videos to ever put together. Huge shout out to Gary and Dustin and Dylan. But the fact that we had, and I'll spoil this much for you, the fact that we had Paul Ulibarri coming in off of the chase card right there in the thick of things, I kind of give a little recap of what he's done on the front 9, and then we basically bring him into the mix, into the fold on the back 9. And I knew how things finished, and I still got excited calling the shots with Pete while we were watching the video. And
it must be great for him to be able to watch his brother do that.
That too. And someone had said, even in the comments on the front 9 originally, right before I got here, is, Pete's commentary is just not as good. He must need his brother on the card to be, a good commentator. A, I think that's stupid and untrue. But B, Pete, like any professional commentator that he's clearly proven himself to be, doesn't show a bias, isn't isn't
And he
petty like that. Not like I am.
He
Come
knew
on.
the results.
Yeah, and he knows exactly. So, but yes, I'm very proud and very happy about this back nine, and I'm excited to share it with everybody here. Just got to hit a few buttons, put it behind a paywall. It's up. My patrons can already see it. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. You can't. But that would be fun.
I've told you for years you need. To
I should be doing that. All right. Do you have anything else before I spew on about a few of the accolades I gotta throw around for the weekend?
No, go for
okay.
it.
I do.
I've looked at the PDGA. There's really not a lot going on. Obviously,
We'll talk. Should we talk more ratings?
No.
Okay.
Their ratings. I will say this about ratings.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we will talk a little more about ratings.
All right.
I find it kind of funny that of all the things that the PDGA dropped, they announced Paige in her 996. They announced Eagle in the 1056. They announced Brody at like 1,002. Like they specifically had an image,
created a graphic
for Brody Smith, which playing favorites. I mean,
I think they're.
There was a player that his very first rating update, he went to like 1,044.
Jackie Chen?
No, it's somebody else here. I think he only went to 1,036.
Oh, okay.
It was some player, and forgive me if someone will bring it up on the board, whose first ratings update, it was like a flex C tier in like Texas.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he jumped up a plus 1,044 points. I mean, which is great, and that's pretty funny and awesome. But I find it interesting that they announced Brody. Not that there's anything wrong with it, just that they chose to promote.
Sure. Because there's plenty of other people that crested that milestone, for instance, that went from sub 900 or sub 1,000 into 1,000.
Probably a couple dozen.
And I will just say that is a direct play on obviously his media,
of course,
presence and star power. Love or hate his journey.
Andrew Simmons.
His journey carries more visibility. Might not carry more or less weight. It certainly carries more visibility, and I see the PDGA playing into that. I mean,
I don't care. I
hear you.
I thought it was interesting. I mean, obviously, Brody brings a lot of name and a lot of name cachet and people to the sport, and he's a social media force. So
yes, so and congrats to anyone that found themselves at whatever your new plateau is, whatever your new peak is. If you went up, I don't care if you went from 860 to 872, and 872 is the new highest rating you've ever been at. I applaud you. I think it's worth celebrating them all, and if your rating's on the incline, that clearly means you're doing something more right than you were doing before, and that's obviously a first step. So,
is this the first time your status has ever said expired?
Oh, maybe not ever, but it is funny. This weekend, someone did post on one of my in the YouTube comments. He said, "Terry, renew your PDGA membership. It's listed now as expired," because I think they extended him to maybe March 1st.
Yeah, the end of February.
Okay, the end of February, whatever. And then I just simply haven't gotten around to it. And it's funny because somebody called me out and said, "Hey, renew it," and I'm like, "Okay, I guess I will." I mean, of course I will. I may play 0 PDGA events. I've said this forever. I'll still renew every year for the PDGA, probably until the day I'm dead. Well, then I'll still be a member, but I'll be a dead one.
Just do like a 3-year membership like I did.
I can't afford that.
Yeah, you can.
That sounds like a Smashbox write-off. Is there?
Ooh, we got to talk to our accountant.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea. But I should. I of course, again, I will renew. I've been a PDGA member, folks, since 1995. When I guess I was 16.
It says 1996 here. Member since 1996.
It doesn't show 1995 in the results?
Sure, but it says member since 96.
That's interesting.
I've been a member since 98.
Huh. In when I would have signed up, I played in the Am Worlds in 96. Obviously, I for sure had to be a member for that. That was required. I was 17 when I played in my first Am Worlds. That would have been July
And
of
now
'96.
You're 22. Congratulations.
How does that happen?
I'm not sure. All right, go ahead.
All right, so I want to throw a few out, and I almost hesitate to do it only because then naturally you might forget someone. But just off the cuff, I have to start with the 3 biggest superstars on the planet, which were my partners in crime this weekend. 2 relatively new cameramen in Dustin and Dylan. Those guys, God bless them. They filmed at least 2 rounds of golf every day. Like, at one point at Vista on Saturday, they got done with the round, which I think was FPO that day, and literally walked from 18 to hole 1 to catch the chase card. Like the 100-foot walk, and then walked the course again. Unreal. So Dustin and Dylan, you guys are amazing. Gary was my partner in crime in editing. He probably technically did even more editing than I did in some capacity. He was lazy. He only covered 1 round of golf a day like me. So he didn't walk 2 rounds. But Gary was just a master of getting the edits up and running and keeping everybody on track. There's no effing around when Gary's at the controls. So those 3 guys, and we wouldn't have been at the event if it weren't for the likes of the First Light crew, Dan and Boyd. They sponsored, flat out paid for and sponsored the lodging for the weekend. They said, hey, if anytime you come to Arizona, you and your crew need to be put up, and we're not going to let you pay for it. So they sponsored the lodging for us this weekend, which was incredible. There was a little headache on their end with one Airbnb host. They took care of it, and then we audibled, I guess, to another Airbnb, which worked out really well. We were 2 miles from Vista, which was really nice, just knowing you're just up the road from Vista. So Dan and Boyd and anyone else from First Light, appreciate it. And then Pete Ulibarri, of course, doing the commentary for all 4 rounds. 3 of them were in person. 1 of them was today, which we did remotely, which I've got some questions for you technology-wise. But we were able to pull that off, and so thank you so much to Pete for that. Jamie Spencer, who big hug to her. I think she had to put her dog down today, but she played this weekend and also did her first ever commentating. And so if I can work out the technology, she may join me for the more FPO footage. And then Tanya, thank you for letting us come just crashing houses in Fountain Hills. So we at one point, we were just like, hey, we just need like a table and a place to like sit and do work. And Tanya and family welcomed us in to do some of the work over there. So Keith and Spinners and the whole crew there, all of the sponsors, all of the supporters, and DGA, Tyler provided some pretty humorous, no surprise there, but Tyler over at DGA provided some great DGA commercials. And as I mentioned, Nate Heinold and Miles Parkhill, also big supporters and sponsors of the coverage. And then maybe just like here, if it weren't for the Patreon subscribers and the supporters and the new ones that stepped up, that's becoming a lifeblood of helping us expand and get more coverage out there. And I can't say enough about all those helpers and supporters and sponsors. And plus, Johnny, let's be real, people are excited to win some Double G craft jerky as well, which I have some on the way, and that's going to be.
I thought you were going to say
you.
I have some here.
No, not for you. If
I'm not even a big jerky eater, but I would do.
You would.
I would eat it. I would eat it for Double G.
You'd take one for the team.
Take one for the team.
Well, I'm working with Double G on some stuff, and they stepped up and also wanted to support, and so some people are winning some free beef jerky as well as part of those giveaways. So.
I saw a lot of comments on the Tyler Brickley commercial about the hurricane,
the fair comparison,
the fair comparison, which is hilarious because I know that debuted like last year during our coverage, but apparently a lot of people did not see that during the live coverage because they acted as if it was brand new, and it is my favorite disc golf commercial of all time. So I can't argue with their excitement over it.
Yeah, I think when it was all said and done, I put a new one in for today, and I think I ended up airing 3 different disc golf commercials, discgolf.com or DGA commercials by Tyler that he's done. So people certainly were enjoying those, as they should be. And just to make clear, because I have received some funny questions and comments, yes, I did record the 4th round. I know that was asked before today. Hey, did you get the 4th round? Yes, I didn't go to a spring training game. We decided to stick around and record it. We actually kind of went with an interesting philosophy on the final day. We split up a little bit more, and we got the final round of the FPO, as do I have rounds 2 and 3. But we got the final round of FPO with 1 camera, and then we also were, because of the timing, we got the final round of MP40. And people seem to enjoy the MP40 action from Vegas that I was able to capture at the last moment. And so we went with that philosophy again. And so we've got MP40. So yes, people, that will all get edited
tonight.
No, it will all get edited and released, and it will happen as quickly as I can.
Your fingers aren't doing anything.
But
right
yeah, please know. Those were some long days, and then there was a travel day, and just trying to get back to a little reality along with a couple kids and such. So, and then I turn around and leave again on Thursday. So, thank you, and then yet again, thank you to all of you guys. Oh, do you want the back 9? Here, let me hit publish. I'll do that.
So the only other thing that we haven't really spoken about, this was dropped last week, Wednesday, I believe, on March 4th, or maybe it was Thursday. Anyway, the DGBT is going to host the inaugural match play tournament this September. We will be covering that live, just so you know, Terry, in case you weren't aware. We'll be there. It is going to be held September 16th through the 19th at the Steel Club in Hellertown, Pennsylvania. You can go out to the DGPT website. Hopefully they have the information about out there. Otherwise, check the social medias, and there's all sorts of info on this match play event. It'll be exciting. It's the first event that Discmania is really getting behind here in the U.S. So UC is excited about this particular avenue for coverage and competition.
Wow.
So it's pretty exciting.
And so we're looking at all match play all the time, or are they going to do...
They're going to do the first 3 rounds match play, and then the last round is going to be just the top 4 stroke play.
It should be the top 9, and they all go bowling. 9-pin, of course.
No, candle pin.
Yeah, there
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, East Coast.
I mean,
Good
you
call.
You got to
go
candle pin
Johnny.
bowling.
I like that.
Actually, in a rare form, it's going to be a water balloon fight for the final round.
That makes perfect sense.
Just saying.
That does.
100% match play, Terry Miller. Stop giving the PDGA this backlash and this lip, Terry.
And then that actually does pose the question: is there going to be is this a X tier? Is there any sanctioning involved? Does it say?
I didn't see anything about sanctioning yet. I'm sure it will probably be sanctioned.
And Cody and Emily are on the board as always, and says the commercial for that news was neat by Discmania. I'm unfamiliar with the commercial. Again, I feel like I have had, I would say my head in the sand, but my head has been absolutely buried in a computer. So as much as I'm usually up on top of so many of these types of conversations, I knew none of the details about this.
The course is going to be kind of redesigned by Brinster and Lazat.
Okay.
So that's a new law firm.
Those short arms.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Brinster, who is a phenomenal course designer over on the East Coast, and I don't know if Simon's actually ever done an official course design, or at least put his name behind it. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table for this particular course. Either way, get excited. Right now.
I'm pumped.
Get excited about
it. I
it.
can't get enough. Match play. Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, if that's all the news and information that you got for us, then I think we can call this thing.
Let's do it. Let's call it.
All right. Well, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for joining us, giving us a little piece of your Tuesday night or a long piece of one of the drives that you might be on somewhere. I've heard some people stockpile us and say, we put you on a long drive, and you know what? We'll take that as well. But thank you for joining us. Thank you to Nate Heinold, along with the Paul McBeth Foundation, him giving us a few of the specifics, answering all the questions, breaking that down for us. Congratulations to that entire team for putting together the idea, following it through, and then knowing who's at the helm, that we're going to see, a large impact and something come to fruition from it. And it's not just talk, and these guys are serious and stepping it up. Just a great group of people over there, and love to see that as well. And thank you to everyone again at the memorial. We're looking forward to the Waco. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the after show. Who knows where else this will go off the rails, but we're going to call it. I got to thank Johnny V. I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. This has been Smashbox Podcast number 340. Stick around. We got more action for you in the after show, and we'll see you then with a disc member box when you step inside the Smashbox. See ya.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's Podcast 340 After Show.
It was a little bit of a longer break while Terry was pushing the go live button on the back nine, adjusting all the last minute things he has to.
Yeah. I'll just as a little back end for everybody, in the sense that
that video still says unlisted.
To do, and I'm not claiming to be the expert, but to do a YouTube video correctly, in the sense that once the video gets all done, there's the editing. We all know that. I've complained about that for years. There's the editing, and then there's the upload. You're usually talking anywhere from like a 4 to a 7 gig file. So just do your math on an upload speed at whatever your uploads are, which are usually a fraction of what your downloads are at your house. You get all that in, and then there's how elaborate are you on the description? How elaborate are you on actually putting in the keywords? Are you going to make a fresh thumbnail, or are you going to go with an auto-generated one? Are there ads that you do or don't want to place? Are you adding an end screen at the very end so that it naturally has a place for you to click to? Did you put something in the end of the video to make your end screen then line up and look nicer? Believe it or not, and none of this is complaining, but believe it or not, there's a lot that goes into
After the
it.
editing.
Like, once you get it to YouTube, there's still a ton of additional work that goes into it. And then you're always thinking, okay, well, when do I release it? Like, immediately? Should the back go out immediately after the front 9? Should it wait 1 hour, 2 hours, 6 hours? Do you have them done? Do you not? Like, there's strategies, and then, of course, releasing at certain times. I'll tell you, there's plenty of times, if you release it a little late in the evening, I get a number of messages on Facebook where, oh, thank you for putting this up. I'm in Finland. I've been, excited to wake up to this. And other people are, when naturally other people are like, I waited up all day just for this, and well, there goes my next half hour. I guess I'm not going to bed. It's 11:30, but I'm not going to bed. So
Is that such a bad thing?
it's just funny that there are so many factors that come into play for people, and the psychology that goes behind all of it is it's incredible. So yeah, it's also very exciting. It's
For what it's worth, front and back 9 together, not in one thing, but released right away together.
okay.
Because if I watch the front,
You want the back
I'll
right there.
probably want the back right there. And to me, it doesn't make sense to like space it out like an hour,
Mm-hmm.
because if I'm going to set aside time to watch, I'm going to set aside time now. And frankly, the way I watch the videos, I watch them at faster speed,
Sure.
because normally I'm not listening to commentary. So well, you may think, or someone may think, well, I'll just release it a half hour later because my video's a half hour. No, because I might watch that in 20 minutes. I might watch it in 15 minutes, depending on how I scrub through it. So personally, for my particular intake model, I would say release them both at the same time so I can get through them as fast as possible.
Okay. It's
Your mileage may vary. As they
yeah.
say.
Well, and Nancy Boy on the video says there are whole classes that could be dedicated to the YouTube algorithm alone. Yeah, and that's just it. Like, it's so interesting to have these interactions, and YouTube on the back end will tell you your viewers are typically watching here, and it'll tell you what time that most of your viewers are watching, and then are your viewers subscribed to you or are they not subscribed to you? It gives you some of those analytics. One thing that's always been very interesting, and this could be said of SmashBoxx, can be said of my Disc Golf Guy channel, and probably literally every other disc golf channel. You want to guess at roughly the men to women ratio that's listed on YouTube on the analytics for men to women? You know what that is, Johnny? Any idea?
As in like,
Yeah, how it breaks down out of 100%,
oh,
what they deem, and this could be just logins, but
It's
what
u-
they deem as women to men ratio.
it's usually about 93% men to, I'd say 93, 94% men. It's almost always like a 6 to 7% women's watching. At least that's what I've seen in the past.
Yeah, that is actually a little bit high. That I think you're guessing.
The 7%, 6%
Yeah.
for women. Okay.
My channel, the Disc Golf Guy channel, has more women's footage than any other channel in disc golf, and it still averages at or just below 5%. Now,
Okay.
I don't know how they arrive at all that, and is some guy logged into his Xbox, but really him and his significant other watch it, and she enjoys it. I'm not going to guess at all of those things, but however YouTube arrives at those, it shows that it's at almost 5% or less are women viewers that it shows on the back end. I've always just found that to be really, really interesting. And my channel, again, has more women's coverage than any other YouTube channel, and it's
Sure.
still just 5%.
Shout out to Andrew Braun for becoming a Patreon supporter since the show started.
Appreciate that, Andrew. And Andrew, I'm not going to say I'm straight flexing some MIDI grasshopper wear, but of course, thank you to the entire MIDI crew who also worked with me, and I certainly could have mentioned in the previous regular show. Big shout out to them for helping outfit the Disc Golf Guy Media crew this weekend. Appreciate it. And if you need a grasshopper, talk to me or talk to MIDI. We'll get you hooked up. Is this another funny thing that it's 10:39 right now locally? I only like to release videos. Like, I won't release a video at 10:39. I wouldn't do it at 10:37. I wouldn't do it at 10:33.
10:40 you would, though?
10:40 I would.
That is weird. 'cause
10:30.
Nobody cares.
No, nobody cares. Just me. I don't claim to have any kind of OCD, but if it's a weird number that I don't like, I won't release it at that exact time. 10:40 I like. I'm hitting save. Folks, done. Now,
Wow, look at the numbers rack up.
it's officially posted. I'm going to take a nap for 2 days.
As you have well deserved.
All right. We have a giveaway tonight. We've actually got a couple of giveaways that have been racking up here. If you're a SmashBoxxTV
You got 2 of them tonight.
Patreon supporter, that automatically makes you eligible. Wes Warren is incredible. Thanks, Wes. Wes just jumped in on the super chat.
Whoa, Wes. Thank you, man.
He says, I don't mind giving a little for what you give. Honestly, I feel since I started doing this, I've received 10 times fold in return. Thanks, gentlemen, for all you keep doing so well and better all the time. I greatly appreciate it. Well, thank you, Wes. It's incredibly kind of you. We appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat. Ray Johnny says,
what?
Would you do it in a box with a fox?
Would I do what?
Play Tiddlywinks.
Hmm.
Have you played Tiddlywinks?
No, never.
Me either. All right. As always, here in the after show is Johnny.
Jeremy Bean says, just got the notification. Bye-bye.
He's like, that's all I was here for, suckers. I'm out. He's like, I don't even listen to your show normally. I just knew Terry had some. Well, just keep Smashbox on on another one of your devices. That's really all we can ask for. As always, though, in all seriousness, in the after show, we're here to answer any questions, bring them in off the board. If you got something for us, you want to give us some updates or news, we appreciate it. Glenn Reiser says the same. I'm out. Glenn, I appreciate it. I think you also just became a Patreon supporter of my channel recently. I didn't send you a thank you yet, so you get an audible shout out and thank you. Todd Lyons says the back nine intro says Shelly Sharp course. Did I spell it wrong? And it is technically the Shelly Sharp disc golf course located in the Vista del Camino Park. So if you're trying to flex on me, telling me I'm wrong, now I got to look. And guess what? If it's there and it's wrong, it's staying there because there's way too much to try and get that fixed. But it is technically considered. All right. My heart's beating. We're watching
this
it.
Is exciting audio watching
Yes.
Terry's intro.
The Shelly Sharp DGC. That is correct.
Cool.
Todd. I'm good with that.
That's okay. That's all right.
It wasn't wrong, so yes,
Yeah.
I'm definitely all right with it.
Nope. Tonight's giveaway, as you heard in the regular show, is our disc member box. We're going to give away this, and then probably one more thing. We have two giveaways. The last giveaway we won was our vegan friend, Kind Vegan John. He won that. I need to send you that info yet.
That'd be a weird flex if he really wasn't vegan, but that was his login.
Yeah. Maybe his parents were vegans or something.
That's fine.
Whatever. But anyway, disc member box. You can be a disc member. Disc member. I was listening to a band called the Dismemberment Plan today.
Mm-hmm. That's one of your favorites.
One of my favorites. Anyway, for $25 a month, if you go to discmember.com, you can get a monthly package yourself with usually a disc or a t-shirt or some stickers. For a while, they were doing UDisc memberships. I don't know if that is still. I haven't looked recently. But yeah, and if you do, let them know that Smashbox sent you. You get this nice cool box with all the designs on it. Not as cool as somebody's disc in a box, but just saying, it's a nice box there. So tonight we're going to be giving that away.
All right.
The Dismember box, sponsored by the movie Seven.
Yes.
Clever.
There you go.
I saw that in the theater. I saw that movie in the theater. That's how old I am.
Yes.
It was a great movie.
Yeah, I don't. That was one I think I saw much after the fact, so I can't say that I did see that one in the theater. I was just trying to think. There's certain movies that have not just an ending or a plot or storyline, but really put you in a place and time of thinking about either where you saw it or how impactful that movie was, because that one had such a crazy.
I want to take this off the rails just a little bit.
Please.
Kind of feeding off of what you said. I was driving in the car like 2 or 3 days ago on the what's today, Tuesday? No, so it's probably on Thursday, on the way to swim practice when a song came on the radio. And it specifically brought me back.
Kiss me.
Kiss me. No, not Sixpence None the Richer. To working at Best Buy.
That's so funny. I just had this story about that, but go on.
And so I'm not going to tell you what song it is, but I
know what song it is.
Okay. But do you have that same song, or not the same song as me, but do you have a song?
It might be the same song.
That literally, like, when you hear it, you think of like, oh, I worked at Best Buy.
I literally just shared this very story last week with someone.
Really?
Saying, yes, there was a song that came on, and I said, this puts me in Best Buy. So to also set this up a little bit more, Johnny V and I both worked store 027 up in Appleton, Wisconsin.
District 003.
Yep, in Appleton, Wisconsin. We both worked at Best Buy. We didn't really hang out or talk to each other much. Those were better days. We knew of each other, but we did not hang out like we eventually would. And Johnny worked in the video department primarily, which was...
Started out as a cashier, went to customer service, then to music, and then to video.
Yes, and primarily at the time, those were camcorders and VCRs and TVs,
yes.
right? That was the video department. Lots of VCRs and TVs. Blu-rays had made...
Oh, no, they weren't even around yet.
Blu-rays hadn't...
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc. Sorry, thank you.
Blu-rays. I'm
yes,
like, no.
Not Blu-rays. Duh. Laserdisc, the big ginormous Laserdisc. Yes, we're dating ourselves here, folks. But big ginormous Laserdisc. Only by Pioneer? Was that the only major manufacturer of the Laserdisc readers, players? And I worked over in home and car audio. Which the two departments, essentially were right next to one another.
Smaller stores than what you go into now.
Yeah, for the most part, and also a very different look. It was not you wouldn't. Now there's so many more I'll say home good. You wouldn't buy a fake plant at Best Buy, which I feel like you could buy today maybe, or maybe not quite a fake plant, but there's items there now that just they didn't dip into at the time.
Strange enough, neither of us ever worked in the computer department.
Yeah, exactly. Which, yeah. So a song came on, and I said, "This is 1 a.m. emptying the truck during the Christmas season song." Type of song. And I feel like there's 2 or 3 songs that I really equate to Best Buy. And maybe it's just because they were out at the time and they were popular and they played on the music, or people sang along when the store was closed and everyone was just acting a little silly. But yes, there's very much songs and things that you associate specifically to and they're not necessarily even great memories. I mean, I enjoyed my time. We both enjoyed our time there.
I had a lot of fun.
But it's not like, oh hell yeah, it was just a party there every night. All right. So one of them that comes to mind for me that I equate almost exclusively to Best Buy is a little later in our career there, while we were in college, but I think that's when it came out. One Headlight by what is it? The
Wallflowers.
Wallflowers.
Okay. That one doesn't do it for me.
Okay. Wonderwall.
Wonderwall is one that can bring me back there a little bit.
I think that's the one that I heard. If I was thinking about it, that's the one that I heard the other night that really brought me back. And then also released around this time when we were coming to college, and then we had a friend that worked there that got into it, which ultimately got me into it. Would be Freshman by the Verve Pipe.
Yeah, that was our freshman year of college.
Mm-hmm. So I think during the Christmas break, I might have gone back and worked.
Yeah, probably. That was just for me. It was the song "Jumper" by Third Eye Blind. That song I equate to, for whatever reason, that is attached in my head to Best Buy. That song was so popular. I just think about listening to it as I'm driving in, because it was probably on the radio all the time at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good friend of ours was a big fan of it. And I just, that song, when it comes on, I still probably know all the words. It triggers that, whatever it's called, but that specific memory, the one that you can almost smell and feel and hear and listen, it puts me right in that spot. And my wife's car has Sirius XM right now, so we've got the 90 station, the 80 station, a Pearl Jam, all stored. And the 90 station, there are quite a few of them that I'm just like, oh yeah. But that one, whenever I hear it, it jumps me to working at Best Buy. So
yeah, there's and I love some people chiming in with their various associations.
More or less the year 1995
Yeah,
is kind
I was going to say, we 95 was our junior year in high school. 96, of course, then our senior year. I think that's how that works. Kind of in the heyday. Yeah, I know. In the heyday of our Best Buy days. Also, early stages of getting into golf, and for a long time, I was working multiple places. I would work at a Subway for a number of hours, and then at one point I know I was working at a Best Buy, and then there was also a 24-hour Subway that I went and worked at during the summer. So I would work in a regular shift and then go work an overnight shift at one of the few 24-hour Subways. And if that doesn't scream 1995, 1996, I don't know. I like how go ahead.
Working in the music department. The two albums that make me think of it, like when I see the cover art, which pops up on the phone or whatever, is the Alanis Morissette,
of course,
the biggest, and then No Doubt. Those two,
oh sure,
like it felt like those were the two biggest albums of like 94, 95, 96, and just we couldn't keep them in stock. the CDs,
Jagged
not the
Little
maxi
Pill.
signals, but the CDs.
yes, the actual, the full ones. It's like somebody says, all I can think about. Cody says, all I can think about when I picture the two of you working at Best Buy is how the employees of 40-year-old Virgin acted in their Best Buy jobs.
Like I said, we didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't be. I mean, we've known each other since we were 14 or so, but we didn't really start hanging out much until college.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I want to get a shout out in there or a recognition. And as crazy as this is about to sound, I didn't personally know Joe, as referenced here on the board, nearly as well. I've heard the name and known the name forever, but I cannot say that there was a real personal connection. However, there clearly is with the rest of the area and disc golf world. As it says on the board, we lost a disc golf legend here in Connecticut, Joe Lick Me Proud. He built courses such as Wickham Park and Panthorn Park here in Connecticut. Rest in peace, Lick. Yeah, I'll echo that sentiment, and I think about how, again, someone who clearly has transcended the entire country in terms of disc golf, because it's a name and an icon that gets referenced and or he's mentioned or talked about and have known about forever. It's just I don't think I ever had the distinct pleasure of interacting and talking to him, but it sounds like I am the one that missed out there. So certainly I saw that news cycle around Facebook as well in the last week. So certainly love and hugs to the family, and as we said, the disc golf community lost a true icon. All right. Also reading off of the board, puka shell necklaces. Yeah, that was Johnny nor I. Oh, did you? Oh gosh,
no,
you did.
No,
you
no,
did.
no.
You
Nope.
did.
God, no.
Yes.
No.
It doesn't seem like your style.
It wasn't,
and it was not mine.
No, but you said necklaces, and immediately made me think of like a couple years later when the hemp necklaces were so popular.
Yes,
which I think you and I both had at one point for a briefly, not very long, as we're never been,
not our style.
Not our style, but I know it. I can't say that I didn't probably wear one for a few weeks. And
Matt says, class of 97 here. Welcome, Matt. I know we're speaking your language then. Says he worked in Office Depot, giving out business cards to install printers for Florida retirees. Here's a quick side note, and I never got around to actually posting it. When I was in Vegas, and this is way up your alley, when I was in Vegas for the week, 100.7. Maybe I'll still post to them. Incredible. Greatest radio station of all time. Damn near every single song they played, I was like, this is it. This is like, it's like as if I cared enough to ever create a Spotify account, because this is what I would practically put together I can't say it enough. If you're of our age bracket
Yep.
and you're okay with some of that those hip hop pop reference pop culture, 100.7, that is your station in Vegas. Make sure you check it out. I loved it. When I was driving from Vegas down to the Memorial, that's when I got mad, is when I finally lost that station. I'm like, dang it.
That's what Sirius XM is really good for. Like the 90s on 9, sometimes they'll go by year. You're like,
Yeah,
they're like,
correct.
oh, this is like all 1991. And I'm kind of like, that's all right.
Yeah.
But when they bounce around a little bit, yeah, that's
Well,
definitely.
I ain't got that Paul McBeth money. I ain't no serious subscriber. Come on.
It's part of my wife's new vehicle. I don't know how long
So
we're going
like
to keep
6
it.
months later, and
It's going to be gone.
Then it'll be
Which
gone.
is funny because she never listens to it. It's just me. Once I get in the car, I pop it on because I know it's going to go away soon. And it's nothing better than like hitting the Pearl Jam radio and hearing like, Even Flow live from Philadelphia in 1998. And you're like, okay, this is just a different version.
Is it called the? Basically, Cody says the River 100.7 is basically the same in his neck of the woods down there in South Carolina, North Carolina area. Wow. Okay. I wouldn't have. That is going to be good to know. Of all the things I take away from Vegas, it's the radio station. Go figure. All right, Johnny.
Sorry,
what are you looking up
I'm literally looking now at like I just bounced between 95, then 96, and 94, the Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles. So I'm sorry, I'm lost in nostalgia.
That makes perfect sense.
94, number 6 was Lisa Loeb, Stay. I Missed You. That's my jam right there.
Black Velvet. Funny. Brings me is a couple years earlier. What was that? Probably 90. It's got to be like 90,
92,
93-ish. That I feel like that's no. Come to My Window. Who?
Melissa Etheridge.
Thank you.
No, because Black Velvet was
like
Alanis Miles. Something
no. This
is great. This is great.
Yeah.
Alana Miles.
I
was so close.
Yeah.
I was so close. That is impressive. A one-hit wonder for me to pull out like that.
So Melissa Etheridge, I just need to know the year. Okay, 93. Perfect. That brings me back to my first ever official job of my first Subway. We had the same owner that owned a whole bunch of them in the area. That brings me back to closing that place down in downtown Appleton on College Ave, and which was kind of the main place to be, and closing that place down when I was way underage. I was not legally, I shouldn't have legally been there.
Oh, God.
Closing down that place in a very adult-like atmosphere of downtown in a college/downtown party district. But I remember sweeping and mopping up to the to that song.
Yep. Come to My Window, Melissa Etheridge, right here. It was in 94. It was a big hit as well.
Those were the days. Anyway.
Oh, people are asking about golf. Like, who's in the booth this weekend?
Oh, my gosh.
Know.
Who cares?
I'm looking at...
You're not talking about Melissa Etheridge or
number 42.
Or tag
Womp,
team.
there,
There
it is.
Yeah. I was just guessing you'd go there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, those are the real conversations here on our Disc Golf podcast. So in the booth this weekend, in all seriousness, I believe...
It's a big booth.
Is it been announced?
It has.
Okay, so again, I'm a little behind.
Nate and Nate. We got
Nate, and Ian. Ian, Nate. Right?
Ian, Nate, Ian,
Nate.
I know. Correct.
Innate. It's going to be an innate booth.
Yeah, good luck people finding some.
So Nate Doss, Nate Sexton, and Ian Anderson are all going to have roles within the booth. And because I'm not there, I can't say I don't remember exactly how it's going to unfold, but that's the short end of it. That's the TLDR version of it. Also, of course, Valerie will be there, primarily focused on the FPO coverage. So that's what you're going to see. Jamie Thomas and myself will have sideline type duties again in Waco on site, and looking forward to that. So is that Is that what you guys were looking for? Those were the details?
Those
The
are
deets?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're on it tonight.
We are.
So it should be a lot of fun. I think that, well, this will be the first time that Nate Sexton will be in a DGN related role. Of course, everybody knows him as the clever, funny, sensible, practical part of, and the big and the sexy part of the big sexy commentary over on Jomez. But to have him now, and he worked the USDGC last year in a kind of a secondary commentator role at that event, but now we're going to see and hear him in the booth in Bend this weekend. So that should be a lot of fun, and I would anticipate that everyone's going to love it. And when you don't, no one's going to care that you don't, because somebody complains somewhere anyway. So that should be a lot of fun. And I don't know if there's anything else to add to that other than that's just kind of a new strategy that we're going to see. And we're getting reps in, and it's not like tryouts or anything, but we all know there's some room to grow in terms of finding the right chemistry, the right teams, the right availability, and that's going to change from week to week and event to event. There's no, hard pressed fine line before we get all that locked in. So, should be exciting.
You say so, Terry.
I don't know. I won't hear any of it. I'll be on the other side of the country doing other stuff.
Yeah, you will.
I think I'm going to go swimming in the Brazos East River. The Brazos River?
Skinny dipping?
No, probably not.
Because, we can sell some tickets.
Yeah, to go the other way.
Probably.
All right. Yes, Tony bringing in the Sir Mix-a-Lot. That was a couple years earlier. What, 90? I got to say 91 or 92. All right. The DG Beat asks, let's get some questions on the board before we go too far into, I don't know, boys to men. How do you think Paige will handle Waco this year? Think she'll get revenge for last year? So steeped in your question is the fact that Paige had a less than ideal opening round. And then before we started round 2, that's when it was ultimately announced that the tournament was going to end after 2 rounds. And with that came Paige outside of the cash. Was it 13th maybe? She was outside the cash, and obviously that's not something anyone would ever bet on or anticipate. Mm-hmm. But a 2-round event, along with a lot of stress and stressors and turmoil and everything else early in the season, that's how it went down. Now, like you said, or I guess the question being asked is
she going to get revenge?
Is that going to matter?
No. I don't.
Paige doesn't care.
No, I don't think.
And not to be flippant, but she doesn't concern herself. I don't think she lives in the past in that way at all.
Paige is concerned with 2 things right now this weekend: winning and playing over 1,000 rated.
And third is buying a house in Hawaii.
This weekend?
No.
Okay.
But that's why I say third. It's on the first 2 may help the third.
Well, yeah.
But,
you could throw Worlds and stuff in there. I'm just talking
correct.
this particular weekend.
Yeah,
Those are her concerns. I don't think it really matters to her, because even if she were looking at some sort of revenge, it wouldn't be the same without the European contingent. Like, it just does. You don't have the same competitors. You're not going to have that Evelina and Henna. Mm-hmm. Attacking the course like they did last year. This was Evelina's win, correct? Last year, Evelina took this one.
Yeah, she did, and she took it handedly. Again, I'm not about to throw out an asterisk by any means, but she, after the 2 rounds, she was your champion. She won by 4 over Henna, and then you had Sarah Holcomb right there in 3rd place. But looking at the scores, Evelina was 4 down on the 2 rounds. I'm gonna click on some. She shot about 996 rated golf, 996, 997 rated golf. Evelina over the 2 rounds.
996 right now.
Henna shot even on the weekend and averaged about 983 golf. She averaged great golf. Sarah Holcomb was 5 strokes behind Henna. Sarah and Kat were tied at those 5 overs, and so on and so forth. And then you go down and see Rebecca, Heather Young, Kona, and so on. As I mentioned, Paige, 1 stroke actually, 1 stroke out of the cash, and being 1 shy of Paige Shue and Haley King. So, yeah. I mean, we could all say it, given 3 rounds, would she have come back? I mean, she shot a 943 round. Now, this does show you that there was some great golf going on last year, because Paige shot 943 and 955. So, what is that, 948 golf, roughly? That's not bad golf, but the field played really, really good golf. And usually if you shoot, let's put it this way, you shoot 944 golf in the FPO field,
you're probably cashing.
You're probably cashing. So, yeah, it was lots of oddities, and of course the anomaly in the year itself. But we'll see how that comes back. And then one has to think: are all the feels, to apply the same logic? Do you see a Colton Montgomery breakout victory, biggest one of his career?
No.
Comes in and he beats McBeth by 2. I mean, sure, he's not thinking, okay, well, I'm riding all those good vibes and that's going to carry me into another win, but has he got a little pep in his step? Is he excited?
Sure, I guarantee you.
He knows he can play well there.
Yeah, he's going there with a little bit extra swagger, knowing that
gusto.
He took this one down last year, but much like most of our top pros, I don't think what happened last year does not necessarily equate to what's going to happen this year.
Okay. So, I don't know if we answered your question, but DG beat, but I'm going to say now we'll forever say that Paige has a great short-term memory. I think win, lose, or draw, and I think she goes back out and she just grinds it out in the next round, whatever that means, whether she had a good one or a bad one, she's out there going to grind it out. At a certain point, too, with her consistency, if we want to get kind of into a few of the nitty-gritty with the rounds, if she does have a terrible round by her standards, there's a chance that we could see some of those peel off. So Paige is at a point where, with her consistency, that she could potentially shoot a round that some other women would be really, really happy with, and it might be so low that it doesn't even count against her rating. And I guess I equate that to a few years ago. I thought I remembered seeing a 1,000+ rated round by McBeth, but yet it was outside of whatever the standard deviation is for him. So it didn't even count against him because that was considered too low for him, and they purge some of those lowest rounds. So,
well, an interesting thing to think about is we're going to see 6 rounds, approximately 6 or 7 rounds, drop off from her rating in the next few weeks, because you only go back a year. So I see, she does have the big 1,057 rated round, 1,009, 1,019. But she also has these Waco ones, 943, 955, a 967. They probably wash out more or less, but I'm looking at some of her. She shot a 906 and it was dropped.
Exactly.
It was not included.
Yep.
So, I see a lot in the Ledgestone time, where right around there, where she was shooting some 970 golf. But, yeah, looking...
That quest for 1,000 is...
It's looking better than I thought it was going to.
All right.
I thought if she was going to get it, it was going to take her another probably 2 years to kind of work her way up there. But at this rate, she could, if she has a couple good rounds in her, a couple 1,010 rated rounds in her, she could bump that up by fall. She'd get there by fall probably. So, and I only say that because she's not going to have anything drop off like a lot of people from March to June.
Sure.
There's no events during that time.
Okay. Well, the quest continues. What happens? What happens when she gets there? A disc.
A disc for
it's made.
certain.
Maybe some shirts. Should we get some buttons made?
No.
I don't feel like there's enough buttons in our sport.
There used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be a lot of
And
buttons.
then everyone got all fancy. But yeah, I think we need more buttons.
No, I mean, I think the funny thing is, I love seeing, and I kind of roll my eyes a little bit at it, whenever Paige jumps up a point or two, it's like, highest rated ever player. And I'm like, yeah, it's still her. Like, yes. Like, it's like when Paul went from like 950 or 1054 to 1055 to 1000. I'm like, yeah, it's still him. It's still edging up. Like,
isn't that like when they put up a stat of we'll say like a Tom Brady, and it's like, oh, most Super Bowl appearances. Oh, most Super Bowl victories. Oh, most, like, it's just him
but
padding his stats.
So I mean, yeah.
I guess it's good when the only next benchmark to hit is to beat is your own. Yeah,
let's give something away.
All right, I'm ready to give it away. Give it away now. A little blood sugar sex magic.
Yes. 1991.
I'll go with that. I'd say 91 or 92, but 91 sounds about right on that one. Interestingly enough,
Maybe
my first ever compact disc.
Really?
Yeah. And it was in the number 1 slot in my 5-disc changer. And of course,
I've got a 5-disc changer literally right there. A Technics 5-disc changer. It has 5 discs in it because I was listening to music the other night.
That's I like it. Yeah. I went with the Technics as opposed to the Sony.
Oh, you got to go Technics.
You had to, and the main selling point was, which my stepfather taught me, the selling point at the time, that's how dated we are, people, was that you could change out the other 4 discs
while it was playing.
And the Sony only let you change out like 2 of them.
But this one would.
Yeah, it would rotate to the point where you could change out all 4 of the other discs besides the one that was playing. And that, to me, I mean, if you want to talk about real priorities in life, being able to swap out the other 4 discs while one is playing was the top priority. So that made me a Technics fan and purchaser forever. Like, those were the amps, those were the systems. That's what you had to go with for many years.
Can you see what's on the bottom there?
The tape deck,
the dual tape
deck.
The Technics dual tape deck is on the bottom shelf there. I was literally trying to get rid of it.
You gonna record?
No. Oh. There was a tape in there when I found it. I dug it out from my closet probably about a year ago. I was going to just throw it away, and I'm like, maybe somebody wants it, and I put it out as an offer if anyone will take it. There was 1 or 2 people that were kind of interested because tapes are kind of making a little nostalgia comeback. But
why?
It's same reason.
I know, but they don't sound better.
No,
they're far less convenient. Like, they actually degrade as they play. Like,
it's a hipster thing.
It is, but I understand. Like, there's certain nostalgic things you want to bring back because, you know, they don't make them like they used to, and, you know, those types of arguments. But there is just literally, unless I'm stupid, there's no benefit to that medium other than the instant recordability, which clearly is impractical because somebody else needs to be able to even play it these days. But yeah, there's just no. Somebody on the board, sell me on why there's any practical reason that's something other than just pure nostalgia.
It's really,
and I understand nostalgia can be incredibly impractical, but that takes the cake.
The funny thing is, the people releasing these things weren't even usually born then. These are mixtapes coming from like newer bands that just think it's cool to have this old hip, and maybe it's super cheap to put things out on tape now. I don't know.
Cheaper than on a flash drive. I mean, OG Mama,
I don't know,
as she goes by, handed me a flash drive. I'm on the course this weekend recording, and she comes up and she says, "Hey, I recorded a music video," and she handed me a flash drive, which, even by today's standards, that's almost, you know, old and antiquated. I mean, as opposed to just like a Dropbox or a link. But she handed me a flash drive. No, a tape is still 100 times less practical than getting a flash drive.
Yeah,
by today's standards.
I get it.
Yeah, the tape hiss. Yeah, that would be the one, or just a use for your pencil so you can wind it up. So you can wind the gears. Yeah, auto reverse players. Beastie Boys was the 6th grade was 6th grade on tape, boombox.
My
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you really want to complete the look, you're getting a tape so you can put it into a boombox and then walk around with a boombox, right?
Yeah.
Run DMC style.
Yes.
Hello, Cool J. Oh, jeez.
What the first CD you had?
Uh-huh.
Is that the first one you owned or the first one that you bought yourself?
That was the first one I purchased myself, and it was an interesting conversation because it had a parental warning on it.
Ooh.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Did you buy it from the exclusive
I
company?
got it from the exclusive company in Appleton, one of the 2 exclusive companies, and then one of the main places you went to get CDs. We did not yet work at Best Buy, and they were cheaper at the exclusive company anyway. And yeah, I'm trying to remember. I bought my this will date it as well. I bought my disc changer, I believe, from Kohl's like department store, because at one point, not only did they have the best deal on it, of course, but they were into a little bit of home audio. And so they carried some electronics, some TVs, some types of basic home electronics. And even though you'd normally get that at a Fry's or a Best Buy or a Circuit City, whatever, Kohl's had them. And then right next door to the Kohl's, of course, at the Northland Mall, is where you went over to exclusive company. So I picked up both of them in the same night, because you can't get your first 5-disc changer and have 0 CDs to put in it. So
the first album I ever got was Great White.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I have that as a hand-me-down.
And that it was given as a gift from someone that basically went to Best Buy and asked my parents and said, "Hey, we're getting him a CD player. What CDs do we get for him? Like, what's popular right now?" Nothing I was into. I was never not much of a hairband guy. Maybe when I was younger, but the first album I bought, I am fairly certain it was Temple of the Dog.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, because I remember buying a whole bunch at once, and it was like Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 by Guns N' Roses.
Of course.
I bought the Temple of the Dog. I had
Did you get Nevermind? Nirvana's?
At some point I had it.
Oh, yeah.
And this is when the CDs came in the big cardboard.
Yeah, the inserts.
The big cardboard inserts, which then you hung on your wall.
That I didn't do.
I did. Okay. I had like next to my, because at the time it was a York's 5-disc changer, part of the all-in-one.
Yeah.
That was the very first CD player I got. And then I upgraded, obviously, shortly after to the...
I mean, that was before you had Patreon money. So yeah.
Before I had this big Patreon money. And speaking of Patreon, let's give some things away. We're going to first give away the disc member box. Terry, we're going to do 2 giveaways tonight. So
use your Illusion 1 and use your Illusion 2.
All right. The blue and the red album.
Yes. Some November Rain. All right. What do you need? A
Civil
number?
War is a better song than that still. I'm ready. 203 people are eligible for tonight's giveaway. If you'd like to be eligible, as Terry said, you can sign up at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. I downloaded the names right between the regular show and the after show. So, Andrew, you are eligible for tonight's giveaway. Thank you for signing up. Andrew,
and also big shout out, as I mentioned, from Midi Disc Golf here, the putting league that has been going on here in the wintertime. If there's any way I can get to tomorrow night's final league night, I would like to. It's hosted at one of my favorite places. Big shout out to Explorium, who worked with Nate and Val and I for the Explorium beer a few years ago. Just incredible people over there, Mike and Joan. Maybe at some point we may have to do an on-site or a remote
I would love to.
Podcast over there at Explorium, located in southeastern Wisconsin, now that they have 2 locations as well. And they've talked about actually supporting or sponsoring our podcast in some craft beer beverage sort of way. Not to step on the Nate and Val, but they don't give us free beer. So
they would, but we're not around there.
Yes, and my point, though, Andy had said they are interested, Midi's interested in supporting the Wisconsin Disc Sports Association, so thank you for that. Along with, he said, I'd like to look into the McBeth Foundation, so really appreciate that and all the support, and for becoming a Patreon supporter tonight.
So let's do numbers 2 and 3.
Of course. Number 2 CD was Pearl Jam 10.
That was your second one?
That was the second one.
I owned that one right away as well.
Number 3 CD that went in the because for a while I just had the 3, even though I had to get the 5-disc changer. I could only afford 3. The third one was then in fact Nirvana Nevermind.
Wow.
So grunge, so 8th grade.
I would not pick you for. So, all right. Our first number is 22. Our second number winning the disc member box is number 176.
How were they sorted?
They were sorted by address. And not everyone has an address, so they got sorted towards the bottom. 176, Bart Welch. Congratulations, Bart Welch. You win the disc member box. I'm going to put that right there, disc member box. And our next number is, and this is just be for a general disc that Terry will send out to you.
All right.
Number 5.
Without a hot dog on it.
Without a hot dog.
Probably.
Well, you
Maybe.
don't know that.
Maybe I've got the hot dog stamper.
You don't know that, Terry.
They
Number
call me
5.
the
So
hot
let's go
stepper.
way up to the top of our list. David Hurd. Congratulations, David Hurd. You will be getting the disc from Terry, which is not the disc member box.
No, but we will get that to you. So thank you, all of our Patreon subscribers and supporters. So we couldn't be doing it without you.
What album would you say front to back
Oh, geez.
you have listened to the most? What CD that you owned would you say from front to back you listened to the most?
Which is a funny phrase, front to back.
I know. It's
in these days, because we
these
think of
days.
either vinyls or tapes. I think the one that I probably listened to the most would be one of those 3 early ones, and that would have to be the Pearl Jam 10 album.
Sure. Yep.
Clearly now classic and iconic, and all these years later, and breakout album, blah blah blah. But yeah, the Pearl Jam 10 album was probably the most played overall.
Okay. I would probably say the same.
That or
the Alice in Chains Jar of Flies album.
Yeah, see, I never got into Alice in Chains.
Jar of Flies is it doesn't see. I know Alice in Chains can go a little bit more metal than everything, but the Jar of Flies album is just so good. So it would probably be one of those two from front to back listening to the most.
Yeah, Galactic Conqueror, you're on it. Even flow. That's
Heard it tonight on the Pearl Jam radio on the Sirius XM while I was waiting for my son.
Could we get a Sirius XM contract?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't know.
They don't want us? They don't have a disc golf podcast show network thing, probably. We could be it.
I'm sure they don't.
Should we wait for the call?
I will put a phone call in.
I don't know.
I mean, we have enough episodes where they could just play them at any point.
It's true.
And
It's like a 10-year supply. Like, you guys have fresh content? No, just put the backlog up.
Go to the back catalog, baby.
That's all you need to do. Terry was a Jewel fan. No. I can't say that I went out of my way to listen to her music.
No.
I thought she was attractive.
Sure, and she had like 2 really popular songs.
We'll go with that.
And then she did a bunch of kids albums because I hear them on the kids station that my kids play. My daughter likes to play like kids music, and so you hear Jewel. I'm like, I know Jewel. So does Lisa Loeb. Funny enough, they both are doing kids songs these days.
Oh, I'm gonna go all the way back for just a moment. Mark King of DG on Instagram was the heart and soul behind all of the.
Would you say he would save your soul?
Yeah, he was. I had just reached out to him and said, hey, I'm really lacking in a few pictures or all of them for any kind of thumbnails for this weekend. So if my thumbnail game was elevated, I'd like to think it was. That was not my doing. That was all him. So I want to get a shout out in there as well. I mean, I'll admit I played a little bit with the graphic side of it, but the photos themselves, which are the important part, that was all him. So huge shout out as well over there.
Derpel Hayes, didn't rock out to the Crash Test Dummies.
No,
never. Like they had the one song which I thought was a little annoying. No, I don't. I can't remember if I got that with my Columbia House record.
Not BMG, Columbia House.
No.
Did you rip them both off?
No. I went with just Columbia House. I ripped off.
There you go.
That's where I got the Counting Crows album, August and Everything After, and I disliked it and I gave it away.
Oh.
Yeah, just handed it to Nikki Laux.
Okay.
I remember who I handed it to because I hated it so much. I was like, I don't want this.
And I hate you. Here.
No, and she loved it. I was like, all right, you can have it. I don't want it.
No, yeah, I will second. No go on the crash test dummies. Wow. Talking Heads love.
I mean, just a little bit. Just what I hear on the radio, and never go out of my way.
That was not for me. Coincidentally, maybe Johnny V and I, although that was his heyday, Dave Matthews Band, not really, not up our alley, either of us.
Never.
We both equally did not buy into that. I guess is what I would say. Without it being conscious decision by us together, neither of us cared for him.
Yeah. No, it was never.
DMB was fire. Yeah, Cody. Sure. And let me guess. Is that how you wooed Emily? Huh? Was that
Take her
your
to a DMB concert?
Yeah. I mean, come on. All too predictable over there. Go to a live show and change your mind. He played here
he plays every year here.
Every year on July 4th weekend. Yeah, Alpine Valley. And let me just say, he might be a perfectly fine, great artist. I just never. I was a little bit. It was a lot of the.
Can I do my Dave Matthews Band impression?
Yeah, it was just for me. It was a lot of just not wanting to go along with.
I can get behind that.
It was like, just because everyone else liked him so much was almost a small reason why I was like, I don't really care. And I said the same thing about South Park. People lost their damn mind over South Park in our freshman year of college, and that's all everybody talked about. All everybody wanted to revolve around in the 6 episodes that were out. It was the biggest thing on the planet. And at a certain point, whether I liked it or not, it was just the whole madness of it that put me immediately turned me away from it all. So
we still have friends that go to Dave Matthews Band every year, and my wife and I both we both are just kind of like, we'll pass. Thanks. We'll pass.
Wes Warren says, I didn't want to get a PDGA number because I was on a list. Not sure where you're going with that, but okay.
You didn't want to be on a list, maybe.
Okay. Well, that's all right. You can be unlisted. All right, Johnny. Can someone record Philo's DG version of DMB Crash and put it on Instagram? That's probably not a bad. I don't know if I have a full song or two by Philo from when we were in Thailand, but he's an insanely talented artist, and it's not just singing. I mean, he
can play a lot of instruments.
Yeah, he's got a number of different instruments that he can play, and so very, very multi-talented in that sense, besides the incredible disc golf he plays. All right, Johnny, I don't know if I have anything else for these people.
No, we can wrap this up.
Have we had enough 90s nostalgia for a night?
Can you really have enough 90s
nostalgia?
No,
because I could go on for hours.
I mean, people keep rattling off names of bands, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great. I could definitely.
I could get behind that.
Someone mentioned the band James and the song "Laid." That particular song brings me right to Thursday
parties
night.
For one.
No, Thursday night pizza and a beer.
Oh, really? Down at oh my gosh, the Liney's
Lodge.
The Lodge.
The
That's what I'm
Lodge,
looking for.
because they would play that, and you probably
I don't even remember. I'm not remembering.
We would sit outside, and I would hear it.
That's where we saw Dustin Diamond one night.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Dustin.
For some reason they played it all the time, and I was a fan of the song anyway, so I would always pick up on it. I'm like, wow, I never hear this any other place. But that's what I think of when I hear that song in general.
Now I'm gonna have to go listen to it because I'm not even envisioning it whatsoever.
Well, I'll play it after we.
Can we get a tape out?
No.
Could you put it on a tape for me?
No. Do you think you could guess any of the albums that are in? I don't even know what's in my 5 just changed.
Probably not, because we had such very different
tastes.
Very different.
Well,
of course, similar, but yet,
yes,
similar but different. Yes,
the Venn diagram overlapped a little bit.
Yes, Screech, rest in peace for sure. From that was what, a month ago, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna call it. Enough rambling for at least for one night. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you guys for all the love and the support over at this last weekend. We're looking forward to keeping the train moving. We're back to live coverage for Disc Golf Network this weekend. As we said, we're gonna have some great talent in the booth, and myself and Jamie out in the field. We expect. Oh man, it's gonna rain. Well, we expect good play nonetheless. We expect the Beast to challenge everybody. It will show its teeth, I'm sure. Be patient. The one challenge that comes with playing that course is it can be tough to follow the discs as they're ricocheting off hundreds of trees in the woods, and B, it's known to provide a backup or two because of, well, what I just said, the hitting
Par
the trees
fives.
and them kicking everywhere. So we'll do our best to give you guys all the best live coverage that we can over on the Disc Golf Network. We're going to sign out from there. So for Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been Podcast 340's After Show. We love you and appreciate you, especially our Patreon subscribers. We love you more than even your mom does. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.
You say I only hear what I want to.